Let's
The
do it.
vibes are here. Mitchell Square Podcast episode number 23. We got the whole gang up in here.
I'm back.
We got
Yes,
me.
I meant to do that and I kept forgetting.
We got Mitch. We got Jason. And we have a mysterious female voice from behind the camera.
You'll never know who I am.
It's Bev. It's Mitch's sister. You guys both have the same parents.
We do.
We do. Yes.
Yep.
We're the only
Two that
ones
have the
that
same.
actually have completely the same parent.
Yeah, we're the only siblings in our
We
Well,
got a
there's
half
one other
brother
one.
And a half sister.
Yeah.
And then we got two stepbrothers.
Yeah,
Oh, that's true. I didn't realize the
And we're
family
full
clan
blood.
extended that much.
it did.
Gang.
It's so crazy. As soon as we hit record, the whole dynamic of this room got way crazy. We were screaming and laughing, and Jason was
Knocking
throwing
everything over.
equipment. He was spilling shit. I was slamming.
You threw that case across the room, hit both of my drinks, and knocked neither
Yeah.
of them down somehow.
Can
too.
I-
Well, I
Impressive.
decided to not hit you. I want to be clear.
Just hit me. Just throw shit at me.
I want to let the world know something while I'm here.
Sure.
Can you guys demonstrate the Bud Squad handshake and admit to the world that I, in fact, made that up?
Did that? Yeah. So so for a little bit of context here, when we were in high school, this was our handshake that we would do every time we would
had,
greet
like, a
each other in
salute,
the hall.
too, right? It was like the rock on.
Yeah.
It was just like if you were walking past each other and you weren't gonna actually say hi because you were in like different groups, you just drop a.
And if you
And
haven't figured
sometimes
it
it
out
was
yet,
subtle.
we
Yeah.
were
It was
very
like super
cool
subtle.
in
You would
high
like let
school.
it hang.
It was
out
like,
the
I'm
back.
going with my side friend group from my math class right now, but just to let you know, I do see you in the hall, and we relate to each other by doing this because it was an Obama picture. You know, like it was just like coming at it like the Illuminati conspiracy face, and I wasn't that heavy. I don't think anyone else around me was in it as heavy as me, but I was like, haha, this is funny. Yeah, people that believe that are dumb. And I like was super hardcore into it like 5 months prior, but there was a picture of like they show in all the videos like, oh, this is Justin Bieber with like a subtle rock on right here, and this is a picture of Obama, and he's like giving a speech, and he's like, and we used to always like send it to each other and stuff, and that's kind of where it came from, just like a little discreet rock on. But yeah, we had a handshake, and it's this. And Bev, you claimed to have invented this.
I did
I believe
invent
There's
that.
proof you
We
did
had
do it.
something
Yeah.
else, and it was like
It was kind of like super
this,
weird. Yeah, it was like a more.
Which it didn't work.
That
You
was
had to, like,
stupid,
bend your
and I
finger
needed
away
to
that
reinvent
made
yeah,
sense.
it.
that was more intimate.
Yeah.
That was the gayer version.
Hey, Mitch, this Mitch Bailey.
Hi.
You have blood on your knee.
yeah, you got done cut yourself.
That's like that's the most common place to have blood on your body when you're like 8.
Not your elbows. And for
The
some
knee.
reason, your
Because you're
nose.
falling off your bike.
Because your
I have
nose
8.
just
I did
bleeds.
not fall off my bike since getting back on it.
Well, you know
That's
what they
good,
say.
man.
I thought
learn to ride a bike
the
and you
first
never
time
have
I
to
got
learn
on it,
again.
I actually almost ate shit because I was like way too confident about.
Well,
I was like, I'm gonna rip, and I just fucking.
You never forget how to do this shit.
Yeah.
I went out and bought bikes. Me and
Fuck, I
Kyle
just
spent
spilled coffee
like
on myself.
$800 on brand new bikes in the spring, and we were like, "This is sick. We're gonna bicycle around everywhere we go. I'm gonna be skinny by June. It's gonna be a good time."
Did it
and
work
I
out?
just sold them.
I lost 10 pounds. I've been
used it,
biking
like,
for like
5
what, like a
times.
month. I lost like 10 pounds.
I didn't.
I just do, but
Yeah.
I bike to work, and I just if I need to use the car, I use it. You know.
Were you biking to get from point A to point B, or were you trying to bike for exercise?
I was trying to bike just from my place to my work. I live like it was like a 10-minute bike ride or something like that. 10 minutes is too much. It
On
was
the
not a
bike?
good time, yeah.
Have you
I
ever
love
tried to
biking.
go for runs? I feel like biking and running could be. I feel like actually, you know what? I think biking probably be a little bit easier.
I find it.
Biking
I
is-
find
it is a little bit
biking
easier.
Can do more consistently.
It's more
without,
fun,
like,
too.
Burning out. You know what I mean?
You get further.
You can
Honestly, my
coast.
biggest issue is that I
Big
work at 8
reward.
o'clock in the morning, so it would be like, and when, at the
I
time
would
it was
love
a
to
spring,
be
it
able
was
to go for a
freezing
bike ride at 8 in
cold,
the
and I'd
morning.
be like asthma, hacking and coughing.
Do you have
listening
asthma
to
too?
it. Just a little bit, just a touch,
Tiny
like
bit. I
find-
asthma
I-
like.
Just
I
like
quit-
enough for it, because it's not for it to be fun.
Yeah.
I quit vaping. Like in the first week, I remember actually like I think I quit vaping like right before I proposed to M. I did.
That was romantic.
It was like a few days
Yeah,
before.
that's super
But
romantic.
I remember
proposal
I had
story.
to. I
I'm
don't
not
know if it was
vaping
before
anymore,
I did
baby.
it or right after I did it. It was right before. I had to pee. And to pee, I had to.
Sorry. It had to go.
Okay, bud.
It had to go. I need to look a little bit
kind
more.
of making a mess right now.
I feel like it's more. If it's spread out more, there's more of a story.
Yeah,
not
no, I
vaping.
had to run up to the end of the beach to pee because there was like a few people around and some of them were kids, so I didn't want to like.
Whip your dick out in front of
Yeah, so I was like, I gotta like run out of the beach here, and I was like, I quit vaping like 5 days ago. I can run, and I've fucking tore
Huge
up the
misconception.
beach. Oh yeah, but like now I feel like I could. I haven't ran, but I've been biking a lot and like
You look
high
like you've
intensity.
been doing a little bit more cardio.
I've been working out too for like about
Nice.
a month. Yeah.
10
I was like almost, I was 190
Mhm.
pounds. Now I'm like 181.
You dropped 10.
180.
Nice.
Fluctuating, but I'm gonna try and get down to like the 160s.
We
Get
should go
all
for a run
gross and
sometime. We've
shreddy.
talked about it on previous
I know,
episodes.
but when we talked about it, I definitely couldn't. I might be able to now. I probably wouldn't be able
We
to.
should just
pace
do a
myself
marathon.
Well, the first time.
Let's all train ourselves for a marathon. I want to do a marathon. I
don't
feel like that would
wanna
make
do
me
it.
look
I'm
really
a-
good.
I'm okay
Marathons
not
are
doing
kind of
those.
damaging to your
They're
body.
kind of dumb too. Like if you think about the
It's
concept.
a white people thing, I think.
Well,
Well,
dude died at the end of the run.
Well, it's congratulations. Now you're dead.
Yeah.
It's too much.
One thing
Yeah,
I've
and
learned
for
in my
why?
weight loss journey is running doesn't suit me. I can do a lot of different workouts. Running is not something.
Running is easy for me because if I listen to music or a podcast, I just tune out and then I just keep doing it, and then I have euphoric realizations when I go
Yeah.
for runs.
Running
I
is
hear
good.
that that's a
meditation
thing. Like
thing.
people that love running, like really
Yeah.
love
Well,
running,
Well,
and
the
people
thing
that
is,
don't
running is
really
one
I
of
just
those
need to
things
do
that's
it.
just like it's part of human nature, like down to the core, right? It's and that's why I think too, like calisthenics and stuff like that, like real natural strength, like doing like body weight stuff, is just so natural because like if you like think about how we evolved, like you would have used your body like crazy in ways that we don't do it at all now. Our food comes from the store. We don't need to chase it. We drive everywhere. You know what I mean? Like you don't use your body the way that it was evolved to be used, and nobody looks like they should at all. It's crazy,
No, we're
right?
all obese. It's gross.
I
mean, it is what it is.
But that
like,
stuff, like
love your
that,
body
that
and
kind of
whatever,
workout,
but
like running and stuff, is
When you
super
really-
fulfilling.
What do you think about like applauding obesity?
Applauding obesity?
Like just like in a sense where it's like you can like I feel like some people like, and I think like you just said like love your
I don't
body,
think
like
you should
that's
shame
fine.
anybody
but
because
you
they're
shouldn't shame
overweight,
anybody
but
for
you
anything.
You shouldn't deny like where you are.
Yeah,
You know
and
what
I
I
feel
mean?
like
And
I think
that-
you
and
need to
that,
be
like,
aware, and
like,
if
you
you're
need to
okay
be-
with
I
that,
think
then
it's
that's
okay
cool.
to be confident and good with what you look like.
Yeah.
But you also have to understand that there is negative health benefits to being overweight. Too.
100%.
Well,
Like,
I think
it's
You
that
lost
always
some weight
been-
recently as well, right?
Yeah,
Since
like-
the pandemic. We talked about this
Yeah.
last week.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Like
there's
I
a big
was,
misconception though. People think that when fat people are on the internet being like love yourself, that they're
Right.
just telling other people to be fat, which I
It's
mean,
not
I'm
the
sure
case.
that
I'm
there
just
are
saying I'm
some
comfortable
No,
with
yeah,
how what my body looks
The
like.
thing is
and
like you can acknowledge, hey, I'm fat and I'm unhealthy and I'm whatever, and still be confident and comfortable.
Yeah.
I just-
well,
with your
you
body.
can also be like, hey, I'm fat, but I'm also hot as fuck.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
Like,
you know,
I just
yeah.
I don't think that like promoting
an unhealthy way of
overly
living.
Like those
increasing your body
people-
weight
Yeah.
for no like just
Those
for a
people
looks
that like
reason
eat
is
for
it
sport,
not a good thing.
like they sit in front of a YouTube channel and they just eat,
Yeah.
or like those guys
Mukbangers.
with fetishes.
What's
like
that
the
girl's
fat
name?
fetish,
Trisha Paytas?
Where they
Paytas?
What's the Cheeto guy? What's the
Shoe nice.
competitive eater?
There's a hot dog eater guy. That's,
Yeah, yeah.
Competitive hot dog. He ate like 50 hot
Chestnut,
dogs.
Joey Chestnut.
Maybe, man.
Well,
I don't know how
that's the guy-
somebody gets
Yeah,
to
he
that
has the
point
world-
where they're just like,
the world
eventually, like,
record
I got a
hot dog
talent when it comes to this.
Eating shit.
Yeah.
There was a guy from Ontario I used to watch back when I was into bodybuilding named Furious Pete, and he was like anorexic or something. He was like 6 foot something, and like 120 pounds, and then flipped and went like started bodybuilding and fucking doing eating competitions.
Yeah.
And he got like fucking huge, but he would eat like 2 pounds of butter.
What? That's gross.
Yeah,
That's
and,
like just directly butter?
Slurp.
like he has there's one of his like biggest videos is like him eating butter sandwiches, and it was just butter
That's
between butter.
disgusting. You imagine just like melting butter.
Yeah,
and
I
putting
guess
some
that-
protein powder in it, and there's your breakfast.
What?
Like melting a mug of butter and just like scoop it in a powder.
Probably make the protein
and
powder
just-
taste better.
Probably.
Butter is great when it's overused. I feel like you kind of put me onto that, like the use of a lot of butter and things
Oil.
that are,
I
yeah.
can't believe it's
That
butter.
magnificent man is Joey Chestnut.
Oh.
He's
He
the hot dog
can
eater?
eat 76 hot dogs in 10 minutes.
I can't eat 3
This
hot
dude
dogs in 10
is
minutes.
a beast.
I'm not a big fan of hot dogs. I could probably eat a ton of hot dogs out the
Overrated
bun
meat.
Yeah.
I
Hot dog.
think
Let's go around.
cooking-
Hot dogs, rated, underrated,
oh,
overrated.
they're
Overrated.
like the ultimate quick food, but they're horrible.
Okay.
Like they're
For some
awful.
reason, I really like them in the middle of the night.
Well,
Raw. You just eat them out of the fridge.
Yeah.
Just suck them.
they're
juice off
they're
and
the
chomp 'em.
ultimate quick food.
Yeah, they're
like
awesome.
you can just
Oh, I
take them,
can't
eat
stop
them,
burping.
boom.
Yeah, hot dogs grew on me
But
over the last few years. I used to think that they would make me gay, so.
I have
I'm a
another
much
question to
bigger
add to
burger
this
guy.
round of questions. Boiled
That was
or
a joke.
barbecued? Raw is not included. Boiled or barbecued?
Barbecued. Yeah,
barbecue
definitely.
hands
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do love a mean boiled hot dog.
What
I
is
put it on
made?
the
What is a
cracked
hot dog made up of?
Lips
Parts
and
of like
assholes.
pork that like nobody wants.
It's
It's
like the.
crap,
It's a
yeah.
throwaway, right?
Yeah, basically.
armpits and eyeballs and
That's so funny, man.
Nutsacks.
Because like I'm sure a large
Cartilage.
percentage of people that enjoy hot dogs to a high level would probably stop eating the hot dogs if they really got the insider scoop.
no,
of
I no
hot
though
dog
I
creation.
like
I
I
don't
like
think
the using bits of animals that it's actually kind of resourceful, even though
It
they're
is.
pumped full of salt
Ecological.
and fat and stuff. Like know what you can buy at the, and I was just about to say this a minute ago. You said I put you onto cooking with butter a lot, or like a lot of butter. I use I only try to only cook with like animal fat now. So I'll get like, you can get like pork back fat in a package, and I'll just like cook it off in a pot, like render the fat out, and then just like save that in the fridge and cook with that, like if I'm frying eggs or something.
Yeah.
But I do it with bacon and stuff too, and I feel like it's a lot better than like what fucking margarine is and shit and butter.
Hot dogs are
It's
like meat reduced, reuse, recycle. Like
Yeah.
like it's
We came out the gate swinging on this episode. Joe, like 10, 12 minutes in, hot dogs and recycling are like kind of going hand in hand these days.
Honestly, we're probably doing a better job with the hot dogs than we are actually recycling. So
the Western
we just send it
world
to
of
Asian
waste,
countries,
like
and then they
animal
declare war.
waste and product waste and the whole
God bless.
thing. Hot dogs are the redemption that we offer.
Hot dogs inspire me to start playing Red Dead
That's what's
Redemption.
gonna save the
I
environment.
meant
Hot
Red Dead
dogs.
Redemption. So Bev, you
There would
are
probably be a negative impact on the environment if we didn't
really
have
trying
hot
to-
dogs.
While we're talking about hot dogs, though, blood pudding. Do any of y'all like blood pudding?
Fucking
I've never had it.
Oh, I love blood pudding.
I bet I would
I
love
made some blood pudding on my knee.
delish.
So Bev, what is your occupation?
I'm a veterinary technician. A registered veterinary technician.
Explain to me what that is.
I'm going to piss off some nurses, but it
Who
is
cares?
basically the veterinary equivalent of an RN. So I do blood work and radiographs. I run anesthetic. I help the doctor in a whole slew of different processes that take on in the veterinary world.
And you're an animal lover.
I mean, yeah.
What is your animal of choice?
Oh, God. Like all different kinds of animals or just pets?
Do pets and then do different kinds of animals. I'm returning the favor from when you interviewed me.
Yeah, I
perfectly
should dig that out.
3
That was
years
a good
ago.
time. Well, dogs I think would be my favorite companion pet because they're fun and they're stupid. They're a lot of responsibility though.
Jay's a little.
And then wild animals, I don't know. I want to be something that's like not a predator or a prey, you know, like
Yeah.
a sloth.
What are your
or
opinions on coyotes? I don't know. I've been doing a lot of hiking in the highlands, and I just, they always say coyote habitat, but there's very few reports of them ever being around, aside from the time that one killed the girl on the Skyline Trail. But
We get some around here.
I know we get some around here, but like, what are your thoughts on them?
I mean, coyotes.
Talk
are
about
cool.
coyotes.
They're
But there's a big
pretty
issue with
think about-
coyotes at national parks in Vancouver right now, where like, or maybe it's not a national park, but it's like where a lot of like homeless people are camping and whatnot. They think that there's like something wrong with them because technically that they're not supposed to actually attack humans. They're generally pretty scared of humans and they run away and shit. They'll only probably start approaching you if you feed them or whatnot, but they're like doing weird shit like biting their tail and stuff because the people think that they're like, there's people that are, drug abusers that might be leaving like needles
They're
around
shitting
and stuff
is
there.
What's happening. The
Yeah.
people that are using drugs and
Right,
they're
they're
shitting
shit-
them out,
that's what
and
they
then the coyotes are eating the things that eat the shit. Or eating
Did
it
you
themselves.
see that article? Because
No,
that was
I
actually
just,
one
I
of
just
the
know that
theories
it can
that was in
happen.
it.
Like, I
Yeah.
mean, think about dogs. Dogs are like domesticated coyotes
Mm-hmm.
to some degree, and they all love to eat
That
shit. We
happens
were
to,
talking
like, a
about
lot
that
of-
earlier today.
Right.
And I
Wild
know
fish
dr-
populations too,
Yeah.
like drug runoff and stuff from like humans.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but like I know dog stomachs metastasize drugs too. Like if a dog ate a bag of weed, they would get high because their stomach metastasizes it.
Yeah, I saw that happen one time. I called.
Yeah, you called me, and I was like,
That
I
was
don't know,
so
man.
crazy, man. The dogs after eating weed, it's like the most insane shit. I was like so scared for the animal, and then it was just like it just couldn't get up, couldn't walk. It just
When was this?
Years ago. Shit, I don't know.
Where
I
were
was
you
at a-
that you got to witness a dog?
I won't
consume
disclose
weed?
that information, but
Please say the name of the person's house that you were at. And
Their
I want
address,
Demi,
their
please,
phone
yes.
number. Let's just dox them completely.
I want
no,
them
I was,
exposed.
down the road from where I grew up.
They're bad pet
And
owners.
anyway, the dog just like ate a joint or something. Like ate just like a
They get super stoned.
yeah, and it fucked the dog up so bad. Like its eyes were like, when people that like look stupid high and their like eyes are red. Like his eyes literally looked like they're melting out of
And
his
they just
head,
sit
like,
there and drool.
couldn't get up and just drooling out of his mouth, just laying there. And I was like, is this dog gonna like die? Like It's super fun.
And then when you called me, you were high as shit too.
Yeah, I was high.
You're just like,
That's
what do I
He
do? I
was
was like, I
sharing
don't
the
know.
joint with the dog, obviously.
I'm mad this dog outsmoked me.
I was having like an anxiety attack because I was like, I'm watching a dog die. I'm just gonna watch this thing.
Can
lose its
dogs
life.
pass away from?
Yeah, weed is
too much of the
toxic. So in
ganja?
theory, yeah, if they
Yeah.
eat too much, they could die from it. So like,
Oh,
if your dog eats your
is
weed,
it
take it to
toxic?
the vet. It is toxic to dogs.
Oh,
They would just hospitalize it and
Yeah.
let it be stoned, really, or like maybe give it like fluids if needed for most cases. But no, none of us care in the veterinary world what drugs you do. If your dog eats them, tell us. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, you're not
Just
judging.
disclose the information.
Exactly. We can't treat what we don't know.
So before we started
My
here, you were
dog's off
saying
the
you had a
perkies.
dream that you were like you had a dream last night that you were on
No,
a date with
this,
Justin Bieber.
This dream was a while ago,
Oh,
and I
okay.
don't even like Justin Bieber that much. I'll
You
I'll
had this dream
start
before
with
you
that.
came here.
But in this dream, Justin Bieber and I he was on tour and I was
Yeah.
with him, and we lived in this big jet, right? And he would stop in all these different cities and go and do his concerts, and we lived in the jet, but he wouldn't let me off. And then one day I asked him why he wouldn't disclose our relationship to the world, and he looked me square in the face and told me that it was because I was too ugly. And then I woke up.
Wow, and that's kind
what
of
a
like the
piece of shit.
Yeah, that's kind of like
You should go beat up
equivalent
Justin Bieber.
I feel like that's totally the type of person he is, though.
Yeah, probably.
when he's in Argentina with escorts and fucking. You remember when
And
that happened? It
Drag
was-
racing drunk in Florida.
Yeah, he's a good guy, good citizen, man of God.
and the Illuminati.
Pretty chill.
I'm sure he's done that. But you know, they say that in your dreams, right? You never die in your dreams. So was that maybe your version of dying in your dreams?
Morbidly
Because you woke right
embarrassed.
back up. Yeah, it's like, oh, this is humiliating.
Yeah, pretty much.
This person I don't even like doesn't like me.
Yeah.
Women
That's,
are like,
so many
okay,
people are
no,
worried
I'm
about
not going
that
to
for
generalize
some
and say
reason.
women are like that, but people are like that.
What?
They want people to like them even if they don't like that person. And once they get the validation that that person does like them, that's when they fuck off.
yeah, you just need it for your own self-confidence.
Yeah,
and in
so
your
it's like-
I
dream,
don't
you
even
were
care if
requiring
people know
that
that I
too.
exist, which is kind of what makes me okay with doing this. Because
Mhm.
I used to care about like, not really care, but like it would eat at my brain if like anybody was not even if they had an opinion about me, but mostly if it was like a judgment of my character
Yeah.
that was like that I knew was wrong. That bothered me a lot. Like if somebody was
Yeah.
just like, oh, like this guy's this type of person because of XYZ, like some sort of surface like level reason that they kind of just decide
Mhm.
that I'm this kind of person because of it, and like that shit bothered me really bad. I don't know why, but like
There's this book.
now I don't really give a fuck.
There's this book that I heard Joe Rogan mention on a recent episode that I listened to him do. One with this guy that owns like this coffee company. I know you're an avid Joe Rogan listener.
I actually
And
haven't
did you
listened
read
to
that?
it.
Listen to that one.
Black
It's like,
Rifle Coffee.
yeah,
Oh, Black
makes
Rifle.
like
I
he
thought we were
employs
talking
a bunch
about
of
Seth
veterans.
Rogen.
Seth Rogen, Joe Rogan,
I
and
was
Seth
thinking about
Rogen.
Seth Rogen's book. He's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
Seth Rogen will eventually have a podcast.
All through high school, he was the only celebrity that anyone ever said I looked like. Seth
Sean Lewis
Rogen.
looks like Seth
Every
Rogen
That's
too,
fair.
really bad.
Yeah.
If you look at Sean Lewis up close, he looks like Seth Rogen. I can see your Seth. You got a
Yeah,
Seth
I have the
Rogen
curly hair
style.
too, and
Yeah.
I can kind of laugh like that sometimes. I'm sure you guys know the.
Can you
laugh
make a
I'm talking
vase?
Do the Seth Rogen laugh. Can you
Man,
do it?
Seth Rogen's vases
I
are
can't do it.
like,
It's like,
I can't do-
it's
I
a
can't
little,
beautiful.
little
I have to
bass
be
in your voice.
genuinely laughing in
Yeah,
order
yeah.
to do it. Yeah.
That's when you tap into your true Seth Rogen. But
Yeah,
no, he was
I am
saying that
Seth
there
Rogen.
was he referenced this book, and I actually ended up seeing the book that was it was in Indigo. We had my mom a book for her birthday, and one of the things was it was like kind of like one of those like 4 commands. It was like in the well-being self-help section. And it was like the 4 rules of life to live by, and I think it was like a smaller book, and each chapter kind of touched more on those individual rules. But one of them was like basically, you know, any person who has something negative to say about you or any kind of negative thoughts that they express onto you or put on your name or whatever, don't get offended by it, because it has less to, obviously this is kind of like a common thing that's said, but like it has less to do with any of your traits and more to do with their reference points and their experiences in life that kind of lead them to a point to even try to find something wrong with you and, you know,
Yeah.
tell other people that this is what I don't like about this person, or tell you that or whatever. They focus on the negatives in you, then
Yeah,
you
it
know,
certainly
says more about
depends
them than
though,
you.
like on how like if it's somebody that's not close to me, or like
if it's not
if,
asked for.
If it's somebody that's like close to me that was like, hey, you're being an asshole because of XYZ, I would like actually consider that. You know what I mean? But
Give
like
you a
if
reason.
it's somebody that like literally doesn't like hasn't had a conversation with me in the last like half a month. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Someone
It's
that
just,
doesn't
like,
know you.
Somebody that doesn't
Yeah.
interact with me on a regular basis, and they're like, "Hey, you're a fucking piece of shit because of this." I'd be like,
Well,
okay.
the best way to get an understanding of a
Have fun with
person
that
is ask
thought.
the people that they interact with the most. Like, don't ask somebody that they went to high school with and they were in a class or two and they might have hung out with at a party and they just decided 2 years down the road they don't like them. Like, ask if I wanted to get a general understanding of who you are as a person without asking you, I'd ask Bev, or I'd talk to Emily or your dad or someone like that. Like, you wouldn't ask some random person that was in your science class in grade 10, what did you think of Mitch? You know, because they don't know you.
Yeah,
And they
well,
can make up
most
whatever. Oh,
people
I think
just-
he was kind of an asshole.
Most
or-
people look at like a fucking picture on Facebook and they're like, "Oh, this guy's this kind of person." Then they
Yeah.
start, you know,
Well,
form an
also,
opinion. It
people,
doesn't take much.
like people's views of people can be tainted by certain situations too. So like, to me, like there's like a million different versions of me based on every person that I met. So like if I met someone a couple times and maybe I was having a bad day a couple days and I was only around them when I was having a bad day, they could be like, "Man, that Jay is a piece of shit. Like, I really hate him." And that's a valid point of view too.
Yeah, because the days that
yeah.
they interacted with you were having a bad day.
Right, exactly. So you also have to look at that too. You have to look at that. Like, sometimes people have bad days and sometimes people have bad interactions with people. So you also have to understand that, like, yeah, maybe to this person that dude is
And I
not,
think
like,
being
yeah.
able to like objectively think like that is such a huge advantage to have. It also makes I feel like it kind of can be a blessing and a curse, like for myself, because I can't really think of someone off the top of my head that I'm like, I don't like that person. I think they're a genuinely bad person, because I still take into consideration, oh, they probably had a few unfortunate circumstances that they lived through in their life that helped develop their mentality towards things, and therefore
And
makes
you're
them
not
shitty.
around those people all the time either. So like that can be based on like I catch myself doing that sometimes. Like if I like just see somebody that I haven't seen in
Yeah.
like 6 years, I'm like, this person is that person.
Mhm.
But
That
that
guy's
is
a
not
dick.
true at all.
Yeah.
You haven't talked to him.
But it's true. But the thing is too, and I think it would make life easier. I sometimes wish I could be someone that would be like, "Fuck, that guy's an asshole. I'm not gonna associate with him ever again. You know, I'm moving on. I don't like him," and I never even think about it again. Like if I get in an argument with somebody, a couple hours will pass, and then I will think, okay, like I kind of want to retry. I don't even care enough a day later to continue that resentment with that person, and I'll just end up being like,
No.
But
let's
I
just
don't
patch
think
it up because I don't
resentment
really
is necessary.
care.
Like, I think you can just be like, you know what, that guy's a dick, or he did X, Y, Z, and I didn't like it. I'm just not going to associate with the guy anymore. Like, and
It's
not
much
fair.
easier.
Yeah.
You don't need to feel resentment towards people that you don't like.
Why are you letting them have a power over you?
Exactly.
Well, talking negative about people is such a appealing way to break the ice in conversations sometimes, especially if you don't know someone that you're speaking with that well, but you know you guys kind of have like a mutual person that you dislike.
My enemy's enemy is my friend, is
Yeah.
what I'm saying.
I can actually have. I have kind of an example.
It's
of,
such a conversation starter, and you just feed off of it, and then you also feel like you're venting, and then it's like, oh, I kind of really get along with this person because we both
I'm
are
just
venting
picturing
to
two
each other.
people
Right now.
being at an event that like know of each other but have never talked before, and they're both alone, and
They're like, that
one
guy's
walks
an
up to the
asshole.
other, and they're just kind of
Grabs
like,
the other one by
Jessica's a bitch, huh?
It's like, oh, let me tell you this story about
Besties
Jessica.
now.
I was somewhere one time and there was like a bunch of people there that I didn't really know. Like I kind of knew all of them, but I didn't really know anyone. And there was one person there that every time someone new came up to me, because like they all know each other really well.
Yeah.
And like I was the outsider, they would all come up to me. They'd be like, "Hey, just so you know, this person's a piece of shit." And I'm not like, and this person was in the room, right? Like,
Did they used to
and
get sloppy
one
steaks?
by one,
What?
every person that was in the room came up to me and was like, "Hey, yeah, it's great that you're here. Just so you know, this person's a piece of shit."
I used to be a piece of shit. That's what I was
No, this
referencing.
dude's hair is currently slicked back.
Oh,
like,
okay.
every
He
one,
was in the
there was like
moment
10
of the
people
sloppy
there, and
steaks.
every one of them came up to me one-on-one and basically started the conversation with, "This person's a piece of
Welcome
shit."
to the party celebrating this person being in the prime of their piece of shitness.
So like, so like, that's a perfect example of everyone started their conversation that way, but everyone that was in that room had the same opinion about this person. So
that's so
genuinely-
weird, dude. So you had multiple people. This sounds like fictional.
And he
Hey,
was there.
Jason, nice to see you, man. By the way, Kevin sucks.
Yeah, it would be like us here, like Bev's out, so I go up to her and I'm like, "Hey, just so you know,
Better.
Willie's a piece of shit," right? And I go back and you go up and you're like, "Hey, just so you know, Willie's a piece of shit." So everyone knows Willie is Mitchell's dog.
And he eats shit.
Yes, and then
I
Mitch
think he's
goes up
pretty
and he's
cool,
like,
man.
He is
"Willie's
cool.
a piece of
He's
shit."
cool.
You don't have
like
nuts,
that's
so
what
he
it would
doesn't
have
try
been
to
like.
hit them.
It was wild because dude was in the room.
Yeah.
The only person.
But
that
did you
didn't-
know this guy?
Well, I kind of knew all of them. I knew most of them.
Were they
about the
drunk
same
and they
amount.
were like just getting out of an argument with this dude, and they were
No.
like, "You got to come on our side, like
No,
join our party."
it was just like
might
a
have been
casual thing.
It must have been
It
a
was like
Scott.
It'd be like a
Scott?
Hey, man,
Yeah, he was a
hey, what's
Scott.
up? How's it going? Hey, yeah, just so you know, this person's a piece of shit. Anyway, it's nice that you're here, man. Like,
Nice to hear, man. By the way, have you heard?
yeah, it was like just FYI. This
Yeah.
is what everyone needs to know. Like,
I'm
yeah.
picturing like a funeral procession and all these people lined up one by one, shaking your hand and being like, "John over there's a piece of shit."
Yeah, they're doing the casket's a piece of shit. I don't even know why I'm here. You should leave. Yeah.
Why was that guy invited?
Yeah, you know, why was he at the party?
I think he
Who
just
invited
showed
that
up,
guy?
and that's kind of
That's
his
what I
MO.
said,
He
he was
just
a
kind of
Scott.
shows up.
This guy's a
like,
dick. He
yeah.
invited himself.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's just
we-
a piece of shit. Yeah.
We used to have one of those.
I hate pieces of shit. Do you know how many pieces? Do you know how many pieces? What is
Are you,
like?
I'm really concerned your baby just thinks people can't change.
Have you seen? Okay, you know that. Remember, I think you should leave with Tim Robinson. Have we talked
Yes.
about this?
Yeah.
I don't. I
Have
don't
you
know.
seen the second season?
Yes.
It's on Netflix. Did you remember the skit? Have you ever seen that? It's on Netflix. It's kind of like if you're familiar with Eric Andre. It's kind of like similar to
I
that.
like Aaron Andre-
It's a
Eric
skit
Andre.
comedy. Yeah.
You know what goes through my head like 100 times a day? Is Eric Andre when he's robbing that restaurant, he's like, "C'est la vie!" and he says it like 100 times because he can't speak French and that's the only French thing he knows.
I don't know. What
He's like a French
I don't-
robber and he's like taking people's lunch plates and then he's just running out the door like,
Say
"C'est la vie!"
But it's Say la vie. It's like Say la vie. Was it I
That's
wish you
li-
well or something?
That's
like that?
life.
That's life. It was.
Yeah,
I knew it was like
basically.
kind of like a slogan, like a way of living. I
Em
wish you well.
has that tattooed on her somewhere.
Say la vie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to
on
get
like
it
her
tattooed
foot
on
or
me and then I
some
met
shit.
M,
Yeah.
and then I was like, no, can't do it now. That'd be weird.
But no, there's well, it was
Just gonna
kind of
make
like what
it
I was referencing there because there's a skit in the second season where he's at like a family gathering or some kind of event that's for like a newborn baby and the friends and family are around. And he's like, "Can I hold the baby?" And then as soon as the mother of the baby passes him the baby starts crying. And he was like, "Oh, I understand." He's like, "I don't." She's like, "Oh, she's just, that's just how she is. She's a baby." He's like, "Oh, I get it. No, I know what it is. The baby doesn't think that people can change. It knows that I used to be a piece of shit." She's like, "No, I don't think that's the case." He's like, "No, I know. Yeah, I used to be a piece of shit." He would be like, hair slicked back, all white suits, hitting this place every Wednesday, sloppy steaks on Wednesdays. And they like, there's this whole part of it.
that's
They
the
invented this thing that
They
like
tell you can't get sloppy steaks.
they tell you can't order sloppy steaks, but they can't stop you from ordering a steak and getting a glass of water and pouring the water all over the steaks.
Imagine being the waiter at that restaurant. Imagine if somebody did that.
Yeah, well,
Just, like
it's so
running
funny.
over the table, like
But
grabbing the water to their hand.
it's just so hilarious how they were sitting around trying to pitch ideas for sketches for the show. They're like, what if we come up with this scenario where the baby cries, he blames it on him used to being a piece of shit because he used to go to restaurants and pour water on
You know,
his
when I
steak.
see shit like that, my favorite thing to think about is how many drugs did the producer and the people that are associated with the show do before they came up with this?
Probably like
were they
30%.
totally
Well,
sober?
I feel like you
Or-
gotta have a
feel like
clear
skits
mind.
like that are probably too like I feel like that like it almost feels like it was two things that got fit together.
Or
You know what I mean? Like
well,
the sloppy
I feel like you
steak.
need to have a combination of really clear thought.
Like it was probably
I've been part of writing groups before, and something that happens is when someone has a good idea, and there's a room full of people that are all in the same energy.
Yeah.
You can get really fucking carried away with
Yeah.
a good idea.
But it's great
and it
because
just keeps growing.
the
and growing,
energy
right?
is
like,
what
yeah.
builds it.
Like I
Right.
feel like the sloppy
Yeah.
steaks, like somebody probably just came up with the idea of sloppy steaks
Like-
and then built something around that.
Well, it
and then
sounds
they
like-
were
Probably
like,
like-
your
or it could-
baby can tell that I used to be a piece
He
of shit.
probably
Or
tried to
then they
say
were just
sloppy
like,
joes
boom,
and
What
said
could
boom.
be
sloppy
like the
steaks by
or
accident.
people there? What could be the messiest thing you could eat in a restaurant? Like a really bloody steak. Well, what about a steak that's like just covered
Smothered
in
in
water?
Just water. But it's so funny in the skit. He hands like the baby gets passed off to like the mother of the baby's dad, and the baby starts crying as well. And he's like, "See? Oh, that baby knows. He used to be a piece of shit too." And she's like, "Don't call my dad a piece of shit." And he's like, "No, calm down. It's true. I used to be a piece of shit as well." And he's like, "See?" And he was like, "People can change," because that's what he kept repeating. People can change. I'm afraid your baby doesn't know that people can change. And then it goes into like a flashback of him when he used to be a piece of shit. And it's like a bunch of guys that he works with around a table, and they're all waiting to be served or whatever. And he comes in, he opens the doors, he got an all white suit on, he has his hair slicked back, he jumps in, and they're like, "Sloppy steaks." And the waiter comes over, he's like, "All right, guys, just so you know, no sloppy steaks." He's like, "Who was? Come on." And they order the steaks. They get the steaks. They got the fork and the knife. They start cutting it up, and then he gets a glass of water and he goes, "Sloppy steaks," and they start pouring them on. It's like slow mo, and they're playing this song, and like then it shows the waiters like jumping over like a fucking
Like
counter.
Baywatch style, running in slow motion.
It's funny, man. Get the sloppy steaks.
Let him hold the baby.
You know what that makes
Find
me
out
think
where we
of
can get the
though
most
is
expensive steak
circling
and then go
back.
sloppy.
We should go
Circling back
sloppy
to what we were talking
sloppy.
about before, and people working like entry level jobs at like McDonald's or whatever. What pisses me off is those viral things on TikTok of like people grabbing ice cream weird or like shoving ice cream in their face or throwing.
This is why I'm
food
not
at
on TikTok.
people.
I
Like
don't
it
like
just
this.
like pisses me off. Like that guy makes like $7 an hour in the U.S. Why are you pissing on his day?
Well, there was a
We had a
great scene in The
conversation about
Office
this, like, a
about
couple
that,
episodes ago.
where
Welcome.
I was saying I almost threw a fucking asked for chili cheese fries at Wendy's, and they gave me a fucking baked potato. I was so pissed, man. I was like, I wanted to just fucking. There's a parking lot like right next to like. Right across from the window, and I was like, I can make this throw.
No, but
And
that is bullshit. They don't get. I don't think you get a pass. You don't get a pass because you work a minimum wage job at a fast food. Like even if you're 16 or 17, I get it's your first job, but like take some responsibility and do your job well, because there's other people that are gonna do their job well, and you could get fired, and then you have to learn the hard way.
Yeah, but I think like she's more so referring to like the
People that
the
fuck with
viral
people
ones that are
intentionally
like
for
they
no
order
reason.
a milkshake just to
Yeah,
throw
for
it
no
at
reason.
them.
Yeah, like
that's
customers,
bullshit.
like
Like they're
customers, like
pieces-
remember
there
the
was-
unicorn challenge? They
Yeah.
take the ice cream cone and slap it on their forehead and drive away, and the guy at the window is just like, okay,
Yeah, and like
what a waste.
Wait,
of
so
ice
what is
cream.
this challenge? Explain this.
Like
take
I
the
don't know.
ice cream
It's
and you
there's
just put it on
various
your head,
ones,
yeah.
but there was
There's a
one where
bunch.
On
people
your
go
own
through the
head?
drive-through at McDonald's and they get an
That
ice cream
sucks.
cone, and then they put an ice cream first on their head and be like a unicorn, right?
So
They
the
shove it
customer
in their-
orders an ice cream and then puts it on their head.
Yeah.
So fuck
It's
it.
like,
That's a
why?
customer making a mess of their
They gotta
forehead.
go home and get showered.
have you
like, it's
have you
fucking
ever worked a retail job?
I worked at Tim Hortons and.
Yeah. Okay. Now imagine you're working
yeah.
at the drive-thru at Tim Hortons and you hand someone an ice cream for them to put on your head, and now you're seen at your Tim Hortons job by potentially millions of people.
Oh yeah, on TikTok.
Like-
TikTok is great for people that are talented that can use the algorithm to their advantage and get their shit seen. But there's a lot of. I
But,
just
like-
feel like it's the peak of stupidity
Yeah,
for a lot of these
but
stupid
like
challenges.
these people aren't getting paid enough to put up with that
That
shit.
bullshit. That's
Yeah.
stupid. You
But
know
I
what?
guess should that just be expected to be like a rare occurrence as a part of your job?
No,
now?
because honestly, we should hold people that do shit like that just to more like this person just working a job. They're like privacy.
They make so little
or
money
other
and they
things,
already
like-
hate their life.
yeah.
Like, stop making it harder.
They already hate their lives going to that job every day.
Yeah.
It's not like anyone was like, I can't wait till I can grow up and be a McDonald's.
I know,
worker,"
but that's
you
the
know?
fate that they chose. I mean, they could continue. They could save up money and try to put themselves through school to get a better job. I mean,
not
they
always
could be in a
that easy.
transitional
It's not
period.
always that easy.
No, I
Not
Sometimes,
at all.
sometimes you're there and you can't save up because your paycheck is.
Not enough.
Gone.
You're right.
Yeah, and
I
you're
get it.
going
No,
into debt
100% I
further
get
and
it.
further
And
and
in that
further,
scenario, I mean, regardless, people shouldn't fuck with anybody. It's a matter of respect.
That used to piss me off is I used to work at Tim Hortons, the one up on Commercial Street, like in not Commercial Street. Where was it? We used to work.
Sterling.
Yeah, in the Sterling. Anyway, and I would work night shift, and I would clean the whole place spotless, sweep
I
the
look at you
floor,
laugh
mop
at
the
that.
floor, and then there was
Night
this
shift.
this gaggle of old men who would come in and sit around the coffee table, and they'd have like a biscuit and a coffee, and one of those old men would turn around and look at us and make a paper airplane out of his little Tim Hortons bag and throw it on the floor. Like he would just throw it across. He would watch us clean and then throw his paper bag on the floor.
feel like
and
you should be
watch us
allowed to
go
punch
pick it up
them.
and put it in the garbage. I saw an old man get decked on the Halifax waterfront for being
There we
racist.
go. Keep going.
Oh,
That
that's
is
sick.
awesome. I want to hear more.
So I was actually with Colt. Colt came up to visit my stepbrother.
Was it Colt that knocked
By
him in?
himself?
No, yeah, Colt came up, hung out with me for a
When?
bit. We went to, it was a couple weeks ago. We went to the waterfront and we were just walking around and getting beaver tails or whatever we were doing. And as we were walking more towards the water, there's a new section with a bunch of picnic tables. And I saw this old man lying on the ground, and I only took about 2 more seconds to figure out what happened. Is he told these young black guys to go back to Jamaica, and one of them pushed him, and he fell because it was on an angle, and he was flattened. And then the old fuck, he was like 90 years old. He got up and wouldn't leave, and he was like surrounded by people trying to
were
just get
yelling
it. They
at
were
him
like,
and shit?
just go away. Like, nobody wants you. Just go away. And he wouldn't do it. And it's like,
So
you're
what
way
was-
too old and fragile
Well,
to
he
not
just.
listen.
I mean, he obviously. Well, he got the youth in him.
Too old to be racist.
Mm.
You're too young to be racist.
Too old to be fighting like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Too old to be racist enough to get into a fight.
What do
You
you
only get so many. You only have so many concussions in you when you're young.
Only a little bit of gray area
dude, like
racism.
an old white guy trying to pick a fight with probably like a relatively young, athletic, strong Jamaican group of people. Like, come on, did you see how fast they fucking go?
They were fat Jamaican guys, Mitch.
I don't know.
Old
Dude. I
white
just picture them be
dudes.
athletic, bro. The guy that cuts my hair is Jamaican, and he seems like he's in good shape. Plays soccer recreationally.
Old white
bless him.
dudes have the most unwarranted self-confidence of anybody
Well,
ever.
because
Like,
they used to be, they were part of a time where like
They were
if
the-
you were white, it didn't matter. Like, if
they
you
were the
white
top
man-
of the food chain
Like,
for so long.
Well, think about it. If this guy is 90,
Yeah.
even his beliefs were a little bit more validated and less questioned when he was 60, and that's like
Yeah.
still a long period of time to live and be someone who can have like total power. Like 30 years ago, he could probably say that to somebody as a 6-year-old, and I mean, definitely he could get the same kind of repercussions.
And
but
somebody
like,
would be like, haha, Jim.
Bill
Yeah,
Cosby was
Jim,
still
you
on the air
are-
30 years ago.
exactly.
Yeah.
You know, and he was fucking dropping
Yeah.
some roofies in girls' drinks and
Yeah,
going to
exactly.
town. But
Roofing some houses.
he was roofing some houses. That'd be funny. Imagine if Bill Cosby, you catch him roofing some
done
houses
with
as
the
like.
comedy.
They've gotten it so mixed up.
I got a passion for this.
How do you think he would do if he
I was
tried?
doing good.
How do you think Bill Cosby would do if he tried to go back on tour right now?
I think he is.
I'd
isn't
make
he?
money. I think he
I
is
think
playing.
people will go
like,
for the novelty
I think
aspect
they're
of it.
trying to get a show going for him, and I think he has a tour announced. Like I think
It's
going to
be a bunch of old white men that go to a show.
Well, he
That's
was,
my
Or
he was America's dad to a lot of people, and I think a lot of people that remember like I used to watch the Cosby Show every day as a kid.
well, people that are like
Love
very
that show.
aggressively anti-cancel culture might just be like, you know what? I mean, even Kanye West, he tweeted "Free Bill Cosby." He's
Right.
innocent.
Oh my
So-
Republicans are going to support a black man like never before.
Yeah. What do you
What if he
think the
runs for
reception?
president?
What do you
I
think
can
the
see
what is it?
What if he runs for president?
Bill Cosby?
Yeah.
He's
He has
young
the
enough.
qualifications to run for the head of the Republican Party.
He's
so-
definitely in the age range.
He's got their vote.
How do you think he would fare? Where would he play if he came to Nova Scotia? Like, where would a Bill Cosby
It
show
would be at like a
Wagmacook.
Legion somewhere.
Wagmacook? The first spot I ever performed at. Where would you say it would be? At a Legion?
somewhere.
It would be in.
At a
It would be
Legion.
just outside of Amherst, somewhere in the Cumberland North District.
We're the independent candidate
Yeah,
one.
where the one
She'll
that
put
was
it on.
too problematic to be part of the PCs.
Yeah.
She was kicked out for.
What
some-
was her reason? So there was in the provincial election there was one independent
independent, yeah.
candidate that won, but she got thrown out of the party. Why was that?
I believe there was a number of reasons. I'm not 100% sure, but I believe racist remarks were one of them. And during
she
the
won?
protest at the border, I believe she was the MLA that was like egging them on and supporting them.
Oh, like the Nova Scotia New Brunswick border.
Yes, those crazy protesters that shut down the border.
Mhm.
She was the MLA that was supporting that. That like kind of got the whole ball rolling.
What, shut down the border?
I
or
don't
open up the
understand
border?
that because they were protesting shutting the
Yeah,
border.
they were-
before
they
shut
they
the
wanted
border.
it
They
open.
shut
They
the
wanted
border
it
down
open,
in protest
yes,
of
but
shutting the border.
to protest, like Nova Scotia, like kept travel restrictions in place,
Yeah.
and they wanted the travel restrictions lifted. So to protest that, they blocked the highway.
Mhm. Oh yeah, that
They
was like
shut
a
down
month,
the
that was a month
border
ago.
to
That was right
pro-
before I was going to
Yeah.
go to New Brunswick. Yeah.
Yes, that was.
But for about a day and a half,
well,
and it inconvenienced a lot of people trying to bring food into the
and
province and ambulances and
food,
shit.
medical
Yeah.
supplies, vaccines, everything. It shut down the highway.
For a whole day, which doesn't
Yeah,
seem
and
like a
she-
lot, but that's a
she
lot.
was the
It's a big
MLA that
setback.
egged that on.
I remember she was getting interviewed
Yes.
at the and it's
She
she's
was there.
Amherst, yeah.
She tweeted something or said something that like she started this, and then she kind of went back on that, but then she went down there and she was
Right.
like, supporting them down there, and she had said some racist things before that, and
What
I
a
think
quirky
maybe
lady.
homophobic things too. I'm not 100.
So that's why
like,
the PC
A dash
party.
And then the PC party was like, yeah,
Why
no.
is she not in that
Racism.
Veterans Party?
right. That party is so fucked up.
Okay, so explain to me this. So I didn't look into it too deeply, but there was a link that Jason sent us in a group the other day that there's like it was like an unofficial political party,
No.
but the guy who's the founder of it is
It's-
from Glace Bay.
It is an actual.
Is it the
registered and-
Hippopotamus Party?
What?
Is it the Hippopotamus Party?
No.
Hippopotamus Party.
Yeah, that was started by Rick Mercer, or the Rhinoceros Party.
Rhinoceros Party.
Yeah, that was
I
started
mean,
by
they're
Rick
both
Mercer.
animals.
That was started by Rick Mercer in the early 2000s or late 90s to basically prove how much of a joke Canadian politics is.
Yeah.
And it was a bunch of comedians that ran, and they actually got a shit ton of votes.
I remember one
Yeah.
of their like platform
Which shows how much influence
things
they
was
have.
like they wanted to change the side of the road that we drove on, but they wanted to do it province by province, starting in the east.
It was their platform was ridiculous.
Wait, what? They wanted to change the side of the. Oh, they wanted us to drive on. That's hilarious.
Well, you know
That's so funny. You were just saying that. I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. Let's talk about the veterans.
You know the Mercer
Switch province to province? Is that what you mean?
You know
so,
the Mercer
you would get to
report?
the New Brunswick border.
That's actually genius.
Yeah, you
That's so
get
funny. Imagine that being like your sole reason for voting for a party. Well, we gotta switch up where we drive on the roads.
Yeah. But these guys, they actually got a shit ton of votes too, like a shit ton.
Well, it's like a protest vote.
Like,
Well, basically, yeah.
Imagine if you won, and then you're like, all right,
But
I guess we gotta
yeah.
act
I
on all
think
this.
We gotta
also
implement
one of
this.
their,
We're gonna try
one
to
of their
pass this.
platform
Their whole
statements
their
was
whole-
that if they won, they were going to pass it down to the second bestest.
yeah, the
Like they
party
were like,
got
we're
second.
not actually going to.
Rick Mercer didn't want to be prime
That's
minister.
worse
like,
because you're gonna, so many people are gonna give their fuck you votes to it.
Yeah.
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 On both sides.
Yeah, no, but the VCP are a very real political party in this
Yeah.
next election. Like, they're as real as the NDP, Liberals, PC, PPC, Bloc Québécois, and the Alberta Party. Like, they're a legit political party.
So many. I know 3.
Oh, and the Green Party. I completely forgot about the...
I know 4.
I felt so bad when I was watching the provincial election results as they were coming in on CBC, and every now and then they would show someone if they were a representative for the Green Party in a riding, and if they had enough votes to like show it on TV. They wouldn't even have their face. It'd have like a question mark. That's what I had on the website because it just was like there's not enough even power for them within Nova Scotia or interest for people to actually be putting their votes towards them. It's probably people that are more so fans of the candidate and their riding.
Yeah, some of these people that were running too are just like, okay, we need someone to run. Who's going to run? And it was just this person's like, oh, I'm not going to campaign, but yeah, I'll run.
Yeah. Back to the veterans.
You know
party
what?
vote.
I once went to David Suzuki did a talk at a place once upon a time, and it was I saw David Suzuki. It was in Halifax. He went to a church. It was weird being there. Anyway, they were talking about basically making Canada more green, and kind of what we wanted. Yeah, but it was basically. It was just a bunch of people talking about how they wanted Canada to be more green. They wanted more green energy. They wanted more green jobs and everything like that. I swear, though, if somebody said, how do you want to implement that, nobody would have given an answer. Nobody said anything about how they were going to implement anything. They were like, this is what we want.
That's the thing that people just they support great ideas, but they don't actually ask the questions of how it's going to happen. Is it going to affect us negatively in the process? Like
one big issue I find a lot of people have, especially in the political spectrum, and you see it on both sides, is they will attack someone without having a solution themselves. And yeah, it's all well and good to attack someone, but if you don't have an answer either, then why are you attacking?
And most people will just either ride for the person that they're attacking, they ride against the person they're attacking because it's like, I support this person. Yeah, attack the fuck out of them because we vote for you, we like you. But they don't want to ask that kind of question. And even if they do, it's not backed enough for it even to be responded to.
Anyway, I want to get back to the VCP.
Yes. So VCP, what is it? Veteran
Coalition Party.
Okay.
So they're a bunch.
Correlation.
Coalition.
Compton.
Let me 1 second. Let me look up.
The Veterans of Compton Party.
Veterans of Compton Poopy.
I think the word was a little different than I thought it was going to be.
VCP is a medical term.
Vegan Collective Pussy.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
It's actually like indicative of heart problems, which is pretty funny.
Veterans Coalition Party of Canada.
There.
Okay. So
Coal Mine Party.
they were established in 2019.
Oh, believe you.
Youngins.
Oh yeah, by a fellow from Glace Bay.
What's his name?
His name is Randy David Joy.
You know what? You're going to have the complete floor. I want you to tell us from start to finish.
Tell us about Randy.
I'm going to tell you about Randy because I think this should be told about Randy. Okay. Because the first thing I did when I found about this party was decide to look up about them because that's what I do. And I found out that they have some kind of racist views that are... Well, some of their people have some racist views that are iffy.
No.
Some homophobic views that are iffy. But the head of the party, this Randy David Joy, now unless there is someone else named Randy David Joy living on Wallace's Road in Glace Bay, specifically 263 Wallace's Road, I believe is the address.
Doxed.
Well, it's on the Cape Breton Post site and on the article I'm about to mention and on the VCP site, listed both times, because he was doxed because he's a sex offender.
Oh, good.
He was charged with sexual assault and sexual aggravation, and he's not allowed around parks, playgrounds, anyone under the age of 18. And this isn't 100% confirmed, but a buddy of mine said he went to the house just to check it out, and there was a Confederate flag hanging from his garage. Now, I might be wrong, but I don't think the Confederate flag is part of Canada's heritage.
No.
So the only defense for that one is I'm racist.
Yeah.
Nova Scotia is Canada's Alabama.
Well, I think Alberta is, but we're on the same area down there.
Yeah, we're pretty close.
We're getting there. We're very iffy, especially if you look at what the shit that just went down in Halifax. Like, I'm not proud to be Nova Scotian right now.
No.
Well, Alabama elected a Democratic governor or something, didn't they? A couple years ago. So that was like a historical moment.
Yeah.
And then they, I think, retraced
I mean,
it.
Canada's American heritage.
Yeah, but I remember there used to be a Confederate flag hanging up on a window somewhere in New Waterford back in the day, right across the street from the hospital. And I was always like,
Have
a
you
young
guys ever
kid being
seen
like,
the video "You Got the Wrong Guy"?
No.
I
Have
don't
you ever
think
seen it? It's a
so, no.
YouTube video, and it's a prank call. And the prank call basically is just a recorded voice of accusing this guy of peeping through his window and watching his daughter change or whatever.
Oh, buddy from New Waterford?
Buddy from New Waterford.
Yeah.
And he starts screaming into the phone because he just
Oh,
doesn't
right.
pick it up. And he's like, "You got the wrong guy, boy. I live in the middle of Main Street, buddy."
That's so good, man. That's so funny. Actually, funny enough, talking about getting phone calls from the wrong number or prank calls. Yesterday, I had a phone call come in, and it said, I've always kind of been the person that not answer a phone call if I don't have the number saved in my phone, because I just feel like once upon a time I did something illegal that I'm not aware of, and it's going to come back to haunt me, or like I made friends with someone who's asking for some help, and like I don't even remember who he is, or I'm going to jail, whatever. I'm a law-abiding
Just ignore
citizen
it.
as far as I know, but who knows? Something might happen. I got a couple CERB payments I don't think I deserved, but anyway, it said Raleigh, North Carolina, and I was like, that's interesting. And anytime I get a call like that from the States, I'm like, fuck, it's Lil Wayne. He's
Gotta
signing me,
be.
man. I'm gonna
He
become
saw
a
me
part
on
of Young.
YouTube.
It's time I join Young Money. Because that's like Drake's story. I think like Lil Wayne called him, he didn't answer or something like that, and he was like, I'm flying out tomorrow, and he was getting his hair cut or something, and now he's Drake. So I mean, like, you got beef with Kanye, but yeah. So I was like, fuck, okay, what the hell, North Carolina? Maybe it's J. Cole. So I pick it up, and it was like, hello, you have received a phone call from, and then it was like, it said the guy's name. It was like Scott McDonald. It's definitely not his name because that's like a Cape Breton name. This guy's in North Carolina. But anyway, so he said his name, and I was like, this sounds like what you hear in a movie when someone's calling from prison. Sure enough, it was like a collect call, an inmate at correctional facility in Raleigh, North Carolina. To accept this call, press, and I just my heart dropped. I was like, "Fuck, man!" It's like I was like, "What?" I
Wants
know.
to be on the podcast. Let's get that shit going.
I don't know. I panicked, and after I hung up, I was like, "Fuck! I should have called. I want to call back."
Star 69.
But I went and I Googled it, and because anytime a weird number comes up, and I'm like, "Is this a scam?" Like I hit the Google with the phone number. I'm like, I don't really have any reason to think this is a scam. Like, it sounded pretty legit. It said North Carolina. It came up on the location when the call came in or whatever. So I Google it up, and I'm reading through like just those websites that just have a number, and then people kind of respond and they write out like what the phone call was about or whatever. And there were some people that were like, oh no, this is official, this checks out, like this is the phone number they use for correctional facilities throughout North Carolina. They were like, it's common for inmates to get the wrong number because they don't have access to internet, they don't have any phone books. So if you're getting a phone call, it's not a scam. I guarantee you that. They just probably have the wrong number. And it's like, if you don't know anyone at this facility, just don't pick up or whatever, block the number, because I guess you probably have to put in like your, I don't know if you have to put in your payment information to even accept the call, or you got to put money on their books for them to call you. I don't know. But anyway, I kind of wish I answered. Just for like oh, sorry, bro, you got the wrong number.
Would have been good.
Or maybe,
But what if he never
Who
finds
knows?
out that he had the wrong number?
I don't know,
and
maybe it
then-
was a really important call. I should have probably answered.
I'm also going to say something, too.
If you're watching, hit me up.
Scammers can actually redirect a call so it's coming from another number. So I'm not sure of the technical details, but my father's a network security guy, and he was telling me not long ago the exact step-by-step process, because he can do it, that he can basically get, like, kind of call my phone, but say it's coming from you. And if you look at the number will be your number, and if you track the call, it will be your phone.
That
So
happened to me
he is
once.
calling me through your phone.
Yeah, motherfuckers shouldn't be
that's-
allowed to be able to do that.
So scammers can do that. So a prison might be a place that a scammer would hit to reroute.
I mean,
through.
that's fair.
But you know
because
what?
if you-
Then you make a
because
payment.
collect calls, accept the payment
Yeah.
for this, and
Click.
then boom, they
Boom.
start collecting money.
Yeah. I mean, they'd have to have my card information.
So you have a cell phone plan? I
Yes.
believe that's how collect calls take money. It's
I
through
don't
cell phone
take
plan.
collect calls, so Ain't no one
collect
scamming
calls
me.
like I know back.
Oh,
in the
they
day,
just
generally
charges
they
you
would
on
be
your
your
phone bill. Yeah, exactly.
So,
We call like accept a phone call. I mean, I've had that happen to me actually. Thinking about
right.
it,
So
talking
so
to people
that,
from the
that
states.
might be a way of scammers.
Yeah,
right?
it could be. Yep. Well, I didn't answer the phone call, but hope he's doing
But
well.
it could also just be an inmate that got your number.
Well, actually, this is what I was
gonna
say.
For some companionship.
Maybe, dude, and I would talk to that dude.
You should.
Maybe we could interview him on the pod.
Maybe.
I hope he calls me back. If I get another
Maybe-
phone call from that exact same number, I'm
answer.
answering. We're having a chat
Maybe they're someone that's just like, well, maybe I'll put a random number in,
and just see who picks
and
up.
if it connects, I'll
so
keep calling.
lonely.
I'll be their best friend.
But you know what?
yeah.
They did have to type in 902.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So they're probably are they trying to reach somebody in Nova Scotia?
How do they know that that 902 is Nova Scotia area code? They don't have
They
the
might-
internet.
It would have
Well,
to be
exactly,
1902 too,
Unless they
because
already know
it's
somebody from
Canada.
Nova Scotia.
Yeah.
Like I'm pretty sure to call.
So I don't know if in North America
No,
you
it's
have
one.
to
It's
do
one for the U.S. and one for Canada.
that. Yeah.
I've looked it
yeah,
up.
we're
sometimes.
the same. Yeah.
Yeah, we're both number
yeah,
one.
that's what I was gonna say. That's what I thought.
You know what's a cool fact about Google now? I don't know. Maybe everybody knows this and it's common knowledge, but you can look up pictures. So like if you ever get a message
reverse
from like
image search.
yeah, isn't that crazy? And so like
Mm.
I
What you're
once
looking
got a random account email or message me, inbox me, trying to be, I want to be your sugar daddy, whatever, like one of those. And just out of curiosity, I
you
took
look up the photo in their profile
looked up
picture.
the profile picture on Google, and it was like I don't know, a stock photo of some model. So that's a thing that can be
It's
done.
sketchy, man.
yeah.
You don't want to be.
I do that all the time when I see like logo or something that I think is cool. I'll look up the company just by reverse image search.
I've also seen flowers that I didn't know and looked them up on that, so that's fun. You can
So wait, how do you go about? Do you
Botany.
just like copy and paste the photo?
You
and
you can take a
Google search?
screenshot.
You can actually if you're
Or
on like
go
a
to the
laptop,
URL,
you
you
can
can type in
right-click
the
a
URL, yeah.
image
Mhm.
and
Copy and
Copy link URL or
Copy image link.
URL.
Well,
Yeah.
you can actually just right click and Google this image.
So
or
how
search this
I
image.
did it is like I went onto the
If you're
Google
on
app
Google.
and pushed the camera button that's on there, and it let me use a photo from my library on my phone, and I had a screenshot. So it analyzed the screenshot and found out where it was from.
Right, you can open camera, right, or you can also like text, translate. There's a bunch of stuff you can do, but that will search images.
Oh yeah, I had a kid.
Oh yeah, let's talk about that. You had a kid.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
Congratulations.
Congrats on the kid. I mean, we're like an hour into this, and you just dropped that bomb. I meant to kind of open up with that, but we started talking about Justin Bieber.
Hot
and,
dogs, recycling.
yeah, hot dogs. That's it is a pressing topic. Hot dogs and gardening.
Yeah, that was crazy.
So
It
you
was
had the
crazy.
kid. You had the child.
It was
He birthed it himself.
Friday the 13th. We had the child. It was the child, my child,
How was the
child
child?
of God.
The name
Child
of
was good, man.
first and middle name of the child is the child Turner.
The child Turner. He,
Every time you hit
I
that
was-
and I see the smoke come from the joint, it reminds me of when Elon Musk took the puff on the Joe Rogan pod.
you got to do a little Elon puff. Come on.
No, I can't. Tesla shares will drop. This
Um,
podcast shares will drop.
It was actually scary because Emily was scheduled to be induced that day, like Friday the 13th, and then they called the day before, that Thursday I think, and said we're gonna push it back a day. And then that day happened, and she just started having contractions, and they got really close together, and we were like, all right, fuck, like let's go to the hospital. And then on the way there, they just stopped. And she was like, oh, they're going to send me home because if they're not under 5 minutes apart and lasting longer than a minute, they'll send you home. And
It's such a weird rule. It's like you're
well,
so close.
it just means that you're just at a certain point, right?
Yeah.
And that they don't need to take you
There's
right
no
now. And
rush.
I
That's
think
just
they
the
were-
number.
and I
That's the
think they
number.
were
That's the number
busy.
that decided was the best.
Yeah,
It's
I
like
think-
8 months after you get your second COVID shot, get the booster shot.
Yeah,
6 feet
whatever.
away.
It's just like some sort of metric they
Love
use.
numbers.
But anyway, we got there and they were like monitoring the contractions, and they were like, yeah, they're pretty close, and they checked to like see how if she was dilated, and they were like, oh, you're like 4 to 5 centimeters. So after 4, I think it's considered active labor, like that they'll go forward with trying to get the baby out.
It's like prove to me you're about to give birth.
Well, it's just if you're again, it's like you're at this point, like we can go forward with this. So they called her doctor, and she came in and she checked and she said, where'd that go? Oh, you dropped it?
Disappeared.
she was like, her doctor came in, checked her, and she was like, oh yeah, you're like 5 centimeters dilated. Worst case scenario, like if this happens really fast, you've got about an hour. So I'm gonna go pick my dog up from dog daycare. Sorry.
Get that drugs out of my face.
Secondhand smoke is real.
Ugh.
So is the fucking house hippo.
I'm gonna OD. The house hippo was stoned the whole time. He was so stoned he became not real.
But yeah. Anyway, fucking.
He's fake.
Yeah. Emily's doctor left to pick her dog up from dog daycare because she thought that Emily had an hour. Like less than 15 minutes later. They don't know what happened, but the baby's heartbeat dropped really low for quite some time, for 6-7 minutes. It was like
I remember when you told me this, I was in Ingonish and I had shoddy service, and I was like, "This is a really crucial time." You were messaging in the group.
Yeah, I was like, well, it was just crazy. They were
what's
like,
happening?
basically, what they'll do, if the heart rate drops, most of the time it's because the cord gets wrapped somewhere, and so they'll flip. They flipped her onto her side to move him. So if he was kind of leaning into the wrapped area
Yeah.
or whatever, it would just change the position he was in and hopefully undo that or change his heart rate, get it back up. They got her on her side, didn't do anything, and then they had to put her on her elbows and knees, and that didn't do anything. And I don't know, the nurse that we had was there was a few of them in and out, and they all did a great job. But this one nurse that was the first one that we had, she immediately she saw the heart rate go down. She's like, okay, we're gonna do this, really, we're gonna put you on your side quickly. If that does nothing, we're gonna put you on your knees and your elbows. If that does nothing, we're rushing you into surgery. This is gonna happen. Boom, boom, boom. It's gonna be really fast. It's gonna be scary, but this is what we're gonna do.
Is it a little bit nerve-wracking when they give you the step-by-step solutions that they're gonna try to see if it works? It's we're gonna try this. If that doesn't work, we're gonna try this. If that doesn't work, it's just kind of God damn it,
yeah.
Shouldn't you just know something will work?
Well, you the thing is, reality isn't like that. But you would hope there's something that's just.
Oh, I know.
You know
Obviously,
what I
I'm
mean?
just thinking what's going. I'm just asking.
Yes,
what's going
it
through
is
your head.
nerve-wracking as fuck.
Yeah, it's you just
You
go
got a
into it.
Okay.
Oh, nice man. Congrats on the warmth. Don't get a tan.
Yeah, no, I just it was scary as fuck. And then she that nurse was actually writing everything down minute by minute as it happened.
The nurse that was suggesting the different body movements to
so she had
improve the situation.
Yeah, she had this notepad.
She's good at multitasking.
Last thing that she wrote down was that Emily's doctor came back from trying to go take her dog.
First female in front of the camera on the pod.
There we go. Trying to take her dog. She had to come back from trying to get her dog from dog daycare. And that was the last thing on the note, was that she showed back up, and that was at 4:35. And then the baby was born. There's a little card that they put in the baby's it's not a bassinet.
A credit card,
it's
swipe it.
No, it's just a piece of paper that has their name, the weight that they are, when they were born,
Mm-hmm.
the time that they were born, on the day that they were born, and he was born at 4:50. So the she was writing those notes up until 4:35, and the baby was born at 4:15, or 4:50 rather. It was that fast.
Mm-hmm.
It was crazy.
Yeah, that did happen pretty quickly, because I remember you were texting me, you said you were a little bit stressed out, and then it was just cool. But you were kind of expecting for the baby to be delivered for 3 days. There was a period where you were when you went to the hospital, but it wasn't there a 2-day gap between when you went and then
it turned out that it didn't.
Because that's why you weren't there the time that we did. Or no, you ended up showing up. We thought we were gonna have John White on. He didn't show up, and then you ended up being able to come 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But man, no, congrats. I mean, Theo. What's his middle name? Theo Gilbert.
Theodore
And Gilbert was
my grandfather's
that
name.
Yeah.
Nanny Boone that lived down from you.
Great cookies.
Dude, I
Sick
just
cookies.
drove or walked actually past
agree on
there.
this.
When my mom first came home, we went for a walk
Mm-hmm.
with the kids down past there. And I remember when I was a kid and I would go to see you, I would usually go through what is now my cousin Ryan's backyard, but was my uncle's backyard.
Did he buy
So
that
you're-
house?
Well, it probably gave, or maybe, I don't know.
He's
He's the owner of it
the
now,
home.
yeah. I used to run through my grandmother's backyard, through their backyard, and then over to yours. And that felt like such a long distance, and it is not a long distance at all.
Well,
I
it's
remember
a
just
house.
boom, running. I had
Yeah.
the fucking cookies and a napkin in my hand. Nanny made me leave with a bunch of cookies.
Were you bringing
Full
me over
bag.
cookies?
All the time, man.
Respect,
Josh
bro.
McDonald.
Thanks for looking out.
Nanny just it was the neighborhood.
Maybe it's the
cookie.
little legs,
It's
man.
everybody's nanny.
Because I take Willie for walks, and then I'll take Lexi for walks. Obviously, very significantly different distances. But the Lexi walks, I'm like, is this hard on her? Like, I take her down like King Edward. Because if I take Willie for a walk, usually it's because I got like an hour or two to do it.
He could probably
and-
fuck you up in a race, like.
Dude, he like it's so funny because I'll have him on the leash, and I know he will always just replicate whatever speed I'm going at. So if we're walking, I pick up the pace a bit, he's going faster, and then I'm like, I bet if I sprint as fast as I can run right now, he's just gonna duplicate what I'm doing.
Absolutely.
And he just fucking starts going, and I just want to see, like, because he's basically the type of dog he is, Australian Shepherd. He's breeded to like
Chase.
to just be on a farm, I think, and like herd sheep and shit. So like he's just living a life of a dog that's supposed to herd sheep, but just like in the confined space of a house.
People all the time will
Well,
come
that's
to
what they
work
do.
with a
He does. He
shepherd,
fucking-
or
Yeah.
like with their Australian shepherds and whatever, and they'll be like, I gotta rehome my dog, or like I have to do something because he keeps biting my kids. It's like, it's not biting your kids. Your kids are running around and it's hurting them. Like, people don't think about those kinds of things.
Wait, your kid? What do you so explain that your kids are running around and it's hurting?
Herding dogs will herd people.
Oh, it's hurting that. Oh, they want to herd people because that's just what their
Yeah,
like,
so
natural
so they
instinct
would
is. Yeah.
normally like nip at cows' legs and things like that to try to get, if they don't go where they want them to go, they'll nip at them. And
That's
stuff
so
like that.
strange
that's
how
what they
you
do
can
with
like
kids.
breed two other breeds of dogs to create this dog with the intention of them to
It's just like behaviors.
Yeah.
You're breeding for
But
behavior.
how
You're
is
breeding for looks.
it's because I won't just like instinctively. I'm sure I do. I mean, we know how to shit and pee and eat and drink just
Well,
naturally
that's
off top.
You have a gray hair, bro. Turn your head this way.
I always had one gray hair. I also have like 2 gray pubes.
Oh.
I shave them, they come back.
I wouldn't be able to.
Shout out to Manscaped, our sponsor. Just kidding.
I wouldn't even be able to
Blue
tell.
Chew?
I got like dirty blonde hair, so it's just.
I like
to drink
how
dirty blondes.
very specifically you knew 2.
Yeah, literally 2.
There was 1, and then one day he's like, God damn it,
There's
a
2.
second.
No, there was just 2 right off top.
How often do you
But I've
count
had-
your pubes?
How often do I count my pubes? It depends on how many I have. Right now, I don't count them often because I just recently shaved. But anyway, what were we talking about? Dogs. Yeah, it's just interesting that they even because that breed, if they get adopted at an early age and they're never put in that environment to be on a farm and herding sheep or cows or whatever, they still have that instinct to do that motion. That's like, get over here.
Yeah.
But like even when you were in the doorway there and he was running out and you were kind of like playing with him a bit, just doing the standard Willie Love thing, and then you kind of were like fucking with him like in a fun way. That was like, I don't like to tap into that energy with him because I was scared of dogs for like 13 years.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, because of
Where was
the
it?
grandmother we hang out and you were there early on.
Do you
I didn't
remember
like dogs. I
when
don't
we
trust them.
walked the dog, or I don't know if you were doing it with me, but I walked the
With
bruiser
rollerblades
with the
on?
rollerblades.
I do remember.
That was fucked up.
That was a good
man.
time.
Were you just echoing? I just heard.
I don't know, it might have
casual
been.
echo. This is definitely a casual episode, but you know what? It's good for the soul and people that tune in every week. I feel like we have listeners that are silent and they don't say anything because I know the people that are gonna listen no matter what. They usually will comment or they'll message me or something like that. And then if we have a guest on, the guest's followers will watch, and that's cool.
I don't have
because
any
some of them
followers, so I
subscribe.
can't do a whole
But
lot
it's cool
for you.
because I feel like you're like a first guest that isn't like a public figure aside from like Alex Kuchma, who's
I'm
like
a nobody,
journalist.
just like
You're
Justin
not
Bieber said.
no, but you're like you're a good person. Like there's a comedian Theo Vaughn who has a popular podcast, and he'll have other famous comedians on or some artists or whatever. But then sometimes he'll just have like bus driver or like just like random
It's
sex
cool
worker,
though, because like you get to
dentist.
see other people's perspectives.
It's
on
much
things,
more
like,
interesting.
totally
than famous
outside
people
of your
that are
work. Because
obsessed
I
with
mean,
themselves.
famous people or people who do podcasts, they generally tend to interview and have people on the show that they are like-minded with, right?
And you
like,
could
it's
find
automatically-
interviews with that person that they have on as a guest elsewhere, and they're probably asking them the same questions.
Yeah.
That's like what me and Jason were talking about last week. If you're going to have a guest on, ask them questions that
That
people
nobody
haven't
else-
heard of anywhere else. Don't ask an artist, what's your biggest inspiration? What made you want to start making music? Da-da-da-da. It's like you could find that 10 times over if there's somebody that's
You know,
well-known.
a question came to my mind when I was on the way down here because I was thinking about the podcast and wondering if you guys were going to be shooting one, and I was thinking about questions that I would ask if I was on the podcast. So here's my time.
Here we go. It's your time to shine. You very strategic with getting on the podcast, by the way. Showed up with Mitch.
But Emily suggested it, and I was like,
Emily needs to
when-
watch the whole thing.
initially-
and subscribe to me on a Gmail account that she signed into.
At
initially,
Emily.
what I think you or her just asked if we were having a guest on. I was like, I don't think so. And and then Em was like, you should interview Bev, and I was like, we like normally at least try to be like, well, you're much more prepared usually than I am, especially if I'm working on Sunday, but like for the interview, so we have like a course that we're gonna take somewhat, you know what I mean, and try to follow that. And I was like, there will be no preparation for that, so that would kind of get like wonky. It would
get to look through your Wikipedia.
it would end up no, but it would just end up turning into like what we're doing right now,
Which is
anyway.
just shooting the shit.
Yeah.
Well, you know what happened in my head when I was thinking about it? Me coming here is that, remember when we were young and we would all go to the gym, and every once in a while Mitch wouldn't be able to go to the gym, so you and Jaycott would swing by and pick me up, and you'd be like, the next best thing to Mitch is Mitch's sister.
Did we say that?
Yeah, it'd be like, I'm like a female Mitch, and we'd go to the gym together.
You used to go hard at the
That's
gym.
respect.
I used to go hard at the
You
gym.
did. I remember the last time I think we went to the gym collectively was in like 2017.
It was, and we used to listen to 2 Chainz.
We listened to 2
We'd
Chainz, and there was
bump
like
2 Chainz.
I got like a memory for some reason from some app, and it was like 4 years ago today, and it was like us going to the gym, listening to 2 Chainz, and my thing was like, it feels like 2013 right now, which was crazy because it was from like 2017.
I remember that. That was one of the many times
What
that
a
I was like,
trip.
I'm gonna get back into the gym. I'm gonna do it again, and then I didn't do it again. I
Oh,
tried.
You
like
were
lazy.
a loyal gymnast.
I was for a little while.
You were.
But
You
I was a
could, like
gymmer.
shoulder press crazy weights. And stuff.
I could lift pretty strong, and like
I
I was lifting strong, man. I was fucking Neil Armstrong with the lift. Is he still alive?
Neil Armstrong.
Not.
The guy who walked on the moon's dead.
No, not Neil Armstrong. Dude, I'm thinking of the cyclist, dude.
Lance Armstrong?
Lance Armstrong.
Lance Armstrong?
There's like 3 Armstrong. Is it the moon guy, the cyclist guy, and the trombone guy, or the trumpet guy?
What? You
Trumpet
got-
guy, right?
You lost me
Alright.
on the last one.
Louis Armstrong. Fucking. It's just such a fucking prestigious last name. You're an Armstrong. It's like Trump. Like, regardless of what you say of Trump, that's a fucking badass last name.
No.
Son.
Not a fan.
I'm a Trump? It's like, I trumped you. I won.
I think that was the point.
The name is
Yeah.
a word. Yes.
It's a word. It's a good word.
Ours is Turner, so that's like turning
Drunk.
stuff.
I remember. I mean,
That's I'm
as a
picking
young
up.
kid, I
It's
thought
like Bender from
I had a
Futurama.
hilarious joke at your expense. Mitch Turner, turn around. And one time I saw somebody in the bathroom. I was like, great too. I was like, hey, here, check this out. Mitchell Turner, turn around. They're like, dude, what the fuck? You guys?
I
have
remember my
knowledge?
sister being friends with a girl whose name was Megan Can, and my father would always say, but what if you
Let's
Megan
crack a dad
can't?
jokes at 7.
What if you make
Can't. That's like if she was a politician, someone would like use that against her. Megan can't. This is 5 reasons why. What were we just talking about? Sorry, I have.
I don't remember actually.
Maybe I'm
The
fucking
gym
high.
and
yeah,
2
yeah.
Chainz.
Yeah, 2 Chainz in the gym, man.
Yeah, no,
Respect to the
we
gym,
used to-
2 Chainz.
I wanna
Oh,
get back into the gym.
how you strategically got onto the podcast.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
Mitch messaged me. He was like, "Do you want to interview my sister?" And I was like, "That just threw me off." I was like, "We haven't had a good old." Well, we did do a 3-person episode in 2 weeks. Like last episode before, I just did the one-on-one Jason episode, which was crazy. I don't know if you watched that. We touched on subjects that we never touched on there. We were talking Afghanistan, Al Qaeda, Trump, the back U.S.
The light
politics.
subject.
I
It was like the
didn't see
most.
it, but Mackie was telling me that you had like, or you were telling me this too, that you had an awful time rolling a joint on that thing.
He did, yeah.
He was
spilled-
like,
yeah.
it took you
He
like
was
a
like,
fucking
because Mitch is
hour.
here, I need to take responsibility as the person who rolls the joint on the pod.
I want to tell this story.
Everybody got fucking wrecked, bro. I was sitting here, you guys were like,
I was just trying to
all I
do
was
like
getting was
pull up
just
your
straight
mic,
forearm veins
but I
in my
did the
eyesight.
blowjob
Wait,
hand
what?
thing.
Yeah.
What?
Y'all be piped up. You
He
got the
got me
heavies.
papers, and he got the papers he normally gets that are ultra thin, and they're way thinner than what I normally use. So I struggle to roll a joint with them.
Everyday
And I
struggle.
was rolling, so it took me 20 minutes to roll a joint.
Yeah.
I started at the beginning of the episode, and I started smoking it at the 20-minute mark.
Yeah, no, it took like a good 20 minutes.
Yeah.
That makes me curious if Mackie watched the whole episode. 'Cause it's
He
easy.
probably
it's,
just was,
it's
like,
easy to
hanging
say,
on by
oh,
a
Jason
thread.
was fucking up the joint early because that was early on.
He tells me he watches everyone.
He's
Shout
a
out
very
Mackie.
respectful figure. I'm doing a whole project with him. He's producing every
He
song.
showed
on
me
it.
2 songs.
That's the only
Nice.
ones that I've been laid down like in the studio.
nice.
I was gonna try to set up like a home recording thing going on, but I just like going to Sean's and recording at Sean's. But he's probably sent me about like 12 to 14 beats. They're all like traditional hip hop sound and stuff. I'm going
Really
back to the
good.
roots, and I feel like I'm like really like improving my bar for bar
I like you better on that type of shit.
depth of like thinking of what I'm, and that's all I've been listening to for like 3 to 4 weeks of the type of stuff that like kind of started from talking with Alex, then progressing to Mackie.
You're wrecking the place, man.
Yeah, it's a
we
consistent thing.
have been wrecking the place since we got here.
Yeah, we're the wrecking crew.
Do you guys remember the Ripping Friends?
That's weird
ripping
because
my
my
fucking
brain
pants.
slightly thought of that when he said wrecking.
Oh, is it
crew.
really?
What's
For how
that?
long? It has been clipping. Shout out to clipping.
Just the last little while.
Beep,
That's a group.
beep, beep,
I'll
beep.
just stay here.
Is that clipping?
But no, he said like and it was funny because I messaged him today and I was like, because he hasn't
Oh
he
my
was sending me beats every second day, and he would send me like 3 at a time, and then he sent me like 5 once, and then 1 here, 1 there, and I've gotten to the point where I just make it a point out of every day, like open a 1 up and write into it. And I think if he sent me 14, I probably wrote to like 10 or 11 by now. But I messaged him and I was like, I'm like running out, man. Like, do you got some more stuff coming? And he was like, yeah, it's been just super busy the last week because Mitch hasn't been around. Or I was just like, that's funny.
Yeah,
I didn't
he's-
take that into consideration because when you're out of the equation in the kitchen at the Bit Moon, he probably is
the
put in
equation.
that equation.
Yeah,
It's
well,
all math.
Only,
It's all numbers game.
it's only what? I got Jay high as fuck, didn't I?
Yeah, he's high as shit.
Bro, I think I'm high as fucked up. Sheesh. You guys fucking blowing that smoke right up my fucking asshole. Shout out to Mackie though, but no, a lot of you're just taking a hoot and holler. But no, he's been hitting me with the fucking fire these days, and I've been listening to all the fucking boom bap, hippity hop, Daniel's son, A-Son. Actually, some of those guys out of that scene have followed me recently. Daniel's son followed me, and A-Son followed me. The 2 guys that are kind of in that space that are selling all these vinyls that people are buying and everything. And that are from Toronto, and they're who I've been listening to the most, and I want to get a few of them on the project with Mackie, but
we should get them on here.
yeah.
If we can do the-
Well, Easy Mac has been hitting me up a little bit now and then lately. He has like
he's
one
dropping
of those.
something, right?
Yeah, he has another single coming out, but he that would
Did
be
he drop
like
his
the
album? I
up.
thought he was dropping an album.
Probably. I don't know if that's an album, like the Don't Fuck With Me thing that he's been advertising. I think it's. I would assume it's a single, but
just thought
I would return to a Zoom interview to get him because he only has 1 interview that's on YouTube, and he has tons of songs that have not tons, but he has a handful of songs over millions of views, and he got a fan base, so he'd be good to have on. But he has like one of those like, you know how like a lot of artists and stuff would like text me, and then like people can send them and they might take some time to respond to the text. They have like a alternate number. It's done through like an app or whatever to like connect with your fans. But like he had this thing where it was like pre-save my single for a chance to win $100. Send me the screenshot. So I did that, sent it to him, and then he was like, "Thanks, bro," because I guess he has it saved as me because he DMs me sometimes too. And it's just basically like, "Yo, we gotta do the pod soon," and then he's like, 2 weeks later, "Yeah, we're still gonna do that." And then maybe if I comment on something, he's like, "I haven't forgot." And it just has been this ongoing thing for like 3 months. But I messaged him and I was like, "Let's do that pod soon." He's like 100%. So I don't know when we're gonna get him on, but that could be our biggest. That's just an ongoing, like, we're gonna do that soon. Sounds good, man. And it will be big for us because he had like 300,000 monthly listeners on Spotify. Like, he has a lot of fucking fans,
He's good
and he's
music.
completely
You would like
independent.
his shit.
Yeah, and he's fucking has. He was like my favorite artist for like a period of time, like last year, and I did a song with him, and he's a good guy. But yeah, shout out to Mackie, shout out to everybody.
We got here from
How did we get
her
here?
getting
We
on the
straight up-
podcast.
Oh, Bev getting on the podcast. This happens sometimes where like something will be
like
said.
an early like first 3, 4, or 5 episodes type of deal.
Yeah, it
And
happens.
We just get all over the place.
It'll always happen, but no, because you showed up with Mitch, and yeah, because you messaged in the group, you're like, "You guys want to interview my sister?" And it was just such a curveball. It was like, well, one.
So much is happening at once.
So much happened at once. What's going on at Bev? I haven't been reading her blog lately. Haven't been watching her vlogs. You should vlog, Bev.
Well,
Can you imagine?
I was
boring.
gonna do
That
this
would be
like
exciting. But anyway, sorry. But I just want to get. So I was just like, yeah, I think we should just do the 3 of us tonight. I was like, I fucking hate Bev. Send. Please don't bring her here. Send. My dog will get will get too excited, and he won't like me as much. Send. And anyway, and then Bev shows up.
I did.
Great play.
that wasn't exactly what happened.
But she just shows up with the key, so I'm like, well, she has a reason to be here. But no, you show up, and I was like, okay, Bev, I like Bev, respect. And then you're like, I'm gonna have a beer, and I'm gonna just.
Yeah, my plan was to just chill until you guys got started and then leave. But then I got a little zooted. I couldn't go anywhere.
You had half the beer.
You're
like, I don't
two
drink
puffs
often.
of a joint and I was couch locked. I was over there.
But it was good because we were having a bunch of laughs. I came in, knocked over the light. Jason was throwing shit all over the room. We were having a good chat. You're like, Justin Bieber fucked me in my dreams. And we're like, well, fuck, you might as well be here. Mic her up and that. And then Jason got up and she stole Jason's seat. She went from not coming here to I'll stay till you start to now I'm getting on the podcast to I'm stealing Jason's camera time.
Gotta get my face out there.
You should be a politician.
You know what? Yeah, no.
This is now the Bev Turner podcast. Hi, guys.
Yeah, next thing you know, she'll be here, and then she'll have me and Mitch both kicked off the couch and leaning over
Dude,
horizontal.
I was saying before, when you were out there that we should just fucking not do the show anymore, and they can do the show. They call it the BJ show.
BJ show, Bev Jason.
Yeah.
I need to make a podcast of me just reacting to your guys' podcast.
Yeah.
And
then
so, like, it'll just be my commentary, like, that's a little sus. That's weird.
Yeah. That's lame. Yo, has anyone found that these guys are kind of lame? I find it funny that some people who
make a career off of hitting us, that would be great.
Yeah. You would be like a media network. But it's funny how like some people get so popular on YouTube and get millions of views just off of reacting to music videos or interviews, and this person said this, what are your thoughts, blah blah blah.
Makeup is a huge one.
Yeah.
The amount of people that just have themselves recorded over other people's recording of doing makeup, and they're like, I like that eyeshadow, that's a very nice color, that cover up went very smoothly on our skin. Like, you just sat in front of the camera and talked about this other video for
girl
15
influencers,
minutes.
that's crazy. I don't research into that market too much because I like stuff that's made by men. Just kidding, I'm not a part of the Taliban. But what was I gonna say? Yeah, make it. Fuck.
I never got to ask my crucial question that I thought about asking.
Oh, you had a question?
I've been thinking about this for 2 days, and I'm just genuinely curious to know the answer.
Okay.
If you had to choose one or the other to eat for the rest of your life, and only it for the rest of your life, would you choose pizza or spaghetti? Keeping in mind that they're basically the same thing.
Just packaged differently. I had such a great thought, but it just went.
Do you have variations of either thing?
Yeah, you can put whatever, all the same toppings.
Because pizza. Wait, what?
Like, you can put the same toppings in either one. They're a carb with a sauce, and then whatever toppings you want.
Oh, people reacting to people's reactions to videos. Okay, continue.
I don't even know what.
We were talking about react, and I like completely lost my train of thought because she was like pizza and spaghetti, and I was like, oh, my great grandfather was Italian, but but I was like, yeah, there's people that react to influential people's reactions to shit. And then you could react to the reactions to the shit. Anyway,
have you guys watched Bo Burnham's?
Just real
you
quick,
go first.
I'm just gonna say pizza easy because spaghetti's is mid for me. So I don't like
Pizza
the
easy because my
spaghetti.
mom made spaghetti all the time growing up.
I had a lot of spaghetti growing up too. My only problem with that is like, you can do a lot of things with pizza and still call it pizza, right? And then I tried to take that and flip it on spaghetti, and if
Can't do it.
fettuccine Alfredo is not spaghetti,
spaghetti,
right?
this is true.
But you can make a pizza with fettuccine or with Alfredo sauce as the base.
You can make like
And
a
it's
whole
still
barbecue
pizza.
meal on a pizza
So,
crust, and it's a
pizza.
barbecue pizza.
More variety. You can't.
That's
You can
true.
walk out of spaghetti, but you can't walk out of pizza.
Surprise, surprise! The guy that works in the kitchen won the food question.
One.
Oh yeah, keep bragging about food.
Dude, I was killing the barbecue earlier. I sent you a video of it.
Yeah,
I fucking had like so much chicken and burgers
I fucked up.
going,
I literally
and had
came
Luke
and I
in
was
my
like,
left arm
I'm
the
gonna
whole
sit
time.
with the family, have a nice barbecue. I literally like really quickly ate a burger and some potato salad and left.
Yeah, you know.
Like
you're
immediately,
here.
I was here for like 15
Yeah, you showed
minutes.
up right after.
Now you're
I
an
cooked it,
influencer.
and then you came in.
Now you're a
Like, I'm gonna go give a dog
micro-influencer.
blood work. See ya.
Who's someone that you follow on Instagram that you gotta unfollow?
That's a good question. Mostly celebrities, to be honest. I Chrissy Teigen.
Yes, what John Legend's wife.
Yeah, I
Who
love
always
John
gets
Legend.
canceled.
I mean, I like Chrissy.
I feel
but
like John
she's
Legend
just,
is such a common artist to always have cameos in movies and TV shows.
He does
They're
do
like,
that.
oh, we're gonna go to this quirky Hollywood party, and then John Legend's on the piano. I was
Yeah,
like, oh
I'm
my
just
god,
like,
it's John
woo.
Legend. This is a great date. This is a scene from Master of None, I think. But anyone ever watched that show?
Yes.
I watched a little bit of it.
What a curveball for the 3rd season when he's
He was
barely
in
even
This
in
Is
it.
Us too. He's on
And what's it called? Recreation and
Parks and Rec.
Parks
I
and Rec.
gotta rewatch that. I'm pretty sure Emily literally just texted me earlier and said she's gonna start watching that again.
You
I've seen a few episodes.
You're gonna
It's
miss
a funny
episode
show.
1.
I do.
Yeah, celebrities
I can't
are like a
wait.
big thing for me. I don't feel the need to follow them. I don't. Most of my Instagram feed is memes, to be
You know what?
honest.
The problem is with Instagram is I can't ever get caught up with it. I don't even consume Instagram. Like my intake of information now has switched to like going on ground news and reading news articles and reading, because I think it's a combination of like this podcast, going into that radio journalism television course and stuff. It's like I gotta know what's going on in the world, and I feel like I have like this burning desire more than ever. Like the last few weeks, it's like I need to know everything that's happening, and I need to listen to this I feel like there's too much. There's so much news and there's so much happening in the world, and I have like this really like burning desire to want to know as much as I can, that like Instagram just feels stupid to me now. And I'm just like, oh, I make
Nothing
music,
here
I do the
matters.
podcast, I want to like a few pics so people, I'm like in the algorithm, so when I post something, people are like, oh, I like, but whatever, but it's like,
I like it when there's nothing else.
I think I might,
When
I think
there's,
I need
like,
to go on a
literally
big
nothing for me to look at.
unfollowing spree.
I have a question related to the podcast, since we've been just talking about random shit.
Yeah.
Kendrick Lamar just dropped a little bomb the other day.
There
You
we
want to
go,
talk about
Bev,
that?
Let's go.
Did he? Okay.
He's leaving TDE. It's his last album on TDE that's coming up. He hasn't put out an album since April 2017, so it's been over 4 years. Did you read his?
I read his message, and
Did he have a reason why?
He just says he spends most of his days recording music and collecting bikes and going for drives.
he wants to focus on what's important or something.
He's like, I need to
He's a little
continue
cryptic
focusing on my life's
about it.
calling, which is funny, talking about people that react to music videos and news. Anthony Fantano, he was like reading who's a popular internet album music reviewer and everything. He made a video like giving his 2 cents on that message that Kendrick sent out, and he was like, I hope his life calling is music. He's like, it would be pretty weird if it's like,
What would it be
playing
like?
tennis.
Car sales or something?
It'd be something weird, but I feel like he definitely has went through. Kendrick is someone who is such a prolific artist who isn't ever in the public eye.
He's not
and
in
he's
the spotlight,
really,
but he has everybody's attention.
yeah, and he's like solidified his position in hip hop and music as a whole. He was the first rapper to win that like Pilsner Prize.
Prize. He's
Pulitzer
the only
Prize,
second
yeah.
mutant
Pilsner Prize. Pilsner's like dope. That's a
Pillsbury Prize.
What's Pilsner? That's beer.
Pilsner's a beer.
Give me another drink.
Pilsner Doughboy.
The Pulitzer Prize, the Pilsner Prize, fucking
The
man.
Pfizer
He's only
Prize.
the
Pfizer
only
buying
second
Biotech.
musician to ever win that. Too.
Yeah,
It's
first
not,
musician.
Yeah, the
He's
Pfizer
the
Doughboy.
second.
Second musician.
Only one other musician has ever won the Pulitzer
Bro,
Prize.
I'll tell you right
and
now,
that's
I'll be the
super
first one to win the Pilsner Prize. Give me a whole
You
lot
got
of
any
Pilsner.
pills? Like a thrills for the pills?
I'm gonna
But I
get,
gotta
I'm
let
gonna be
him
the first
know.
Place Pay artist to win the
Brooklyn
Pills
Nine-Nine.
Prize.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, I got a thrills for the pills.
I won't be the first person from Glaze Bay to win the
Are
Pills
you a
Prize.
fan of the Bohemian Pilsners?
But what's that Pulitzer Prize? But it's like more so
Pulitzer
for like,
Prize.
isn't it for like authors and stuff?
It's a writing prize.
Yeah, it's like a prestigious level of
basically
award for
like the Nobel Prize or
Like a-
like,
like a
Grammy or
literature
whatever
for
thing.
like literature. Yeah,
for
so like
words.
journalists
Ooh,
and
literature.
writers can
Books
and
and
Bob
stuff.
Dylan.
Right?
Bob Dylan and him are
I'm
the
gonna
only
write a
two
book.
songwriters
Yeah.
that have ever.
I love how
coffee
the
too.
brother and sister on this podcast just made literature sexual.
That's not what we were doing.
You're like, literature. She's like, oh yeah, literature.
That's not
That's so hot, right, Mitch? Oh, read me your favorite book.
I was talking shit. Like, oh, literature. You're fucking fancy.
Oh yeah, you think you know how to
You're
read?
hot, Anthony.
What was I talking about? Kendrick. Yeah, no, he's one of those guys where it's like he has an incredible catalog and he's obviously solidified his position in hip hop culture forever. But sometimes I think it's obvious when like, because it's supposed to look super artsy and natural. It's like, oh man, I've been in like my studio living somewhere off the grid for 4, and he probably has because you don't see him. But it's like you know that is calculated and it goes. He didn't just type something up on a fucking old fashioned typewriter and like print it off and set like that's how it's supposed to feel. It's like, oh, our first bit of it's the first we've heard from Kendrick. He's on another planet.
He's been like drafting it for like 6
But it's like the
weeks.
same shit as Frank Ocean. It's like every time Frank Ocean puts out something, he writes up like this super like deep Tumblr post, and it's like I've been spending my time riding my bikes and fucking eating grass-fed beef.
I have a completely different take on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but I'm excited to hear new Kendrick music. But grand scheme,
I
no, you go. No, but he says that he was like, you go. Anyway, I'm gonna continue. Fuck you. He says he's leaving TDE, and he's like, oh, the 17 years I've been with them has been great. I'm like, 17 years. 17. That's like 2004, 2005. He came like I first heard. I know Kendrick was starting to put out music. But he
I can
must
see
have
you calculating, Mitch. I can see you literally. You're sitting there with your hand on your hat, like
It's like 2006. Yeah.
it's like a meme. Like just
No. We don't do math. Wait, that's not what this
2021
podcast. We
minus
don't do math.
17.
But I didn't realize that TDE was active for that long. So that would have meant that Kendrick must have been. He was like got good enough to be associated with an independent label that grew and invested in their artists and had a studio and they recorded, putting out projects. Like he was already with them for like 5-6 years before.
My thoughts are that he's
anything
gonna
kinda
become
happened.
just like a producer.
Anyway, can you go?
Yeah,
Sorry.
I want to say
Yes.
this. I dive really deep into like music documentaries of like all kinds of musicians, and something that's very common around musicians that are particularly brilliant, like Prince is a really good example of this, is they don't particularly like being around people.
Mm-hmm.
So this might be a very sincere thing from Kendrick. Like he might just be like, hey, like he's never been in the limelight really. Like he drops these albums, but you never really see him, you know. So he could just be like, hey, I just want a little bit of me time with me and my family.
Mm-hmm.
I want to do me. This is what it's gonna be.
Well, you earn yourself
Like-
that after you've done the, you do the rounds of being an international top music celebrity.
If
Like,
you
he
write an
did
album
this-
like Damn, you can do whatever you want.
or Good Kid, Mad City, or To Pimp a Butterfly, like and even prior to those albums, like some random mixtapes and stuff that he did along the way. Section 80 was like probably my favorite Kendrick project.
He's the
like,
guy that got me into rap. I never listened to rap before Kendrick Lamar,
Mhm.
and first song I heard by him, I was hooked.
What was that song?
DNA.
Okay, so you got in like on his
like-
last album.
Yeah, well, he won the Pulitzer Prize,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh shit,
Mhm.
okay, who is this guy? Because like I was very much like I used to listen to like alt rock, indie, folk were like the things I really listened to.
Yeah.
But this guy won the Pulitzer Prize, and I was like, okay, I
That
want to
gives-
listen to him.
yeah.
I want to listen to the album that only the second musician ever won the Pulitzer Prize.
And it was for Damn too, which I don't
Yeah.
even think was like his most critically acclaimed album. I think they just were like, we just got to give it to him at this
No,
point.
well, like I said, it's for the writing, so it's for the poetry of the album.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's that
I
like
think
that.
To Pimp a Butterfly is just as
Yeah.
up there as Damn when it comes to that aspect. But
Well,
But I think it was
Damn
more
had-
in-
my
Damn
favorite.
had a very clear narrative. I think if you listen to that album from start to finish, it kind of tells a story.
every one of his
like-
albums do to a degree.
But I think with
Well,
Pimp
yeah,
a
no, but
Butterfly,
this-
I
but
think
this
it
one,
was
like,
still
It's like more so. I think it tells like it's almost like a story that goes
Because
through
the-
based on the energy, the feel of the album, like going through every part of it. Like,
and it's not just the prize is not just for the literary aspect of the music. Of course, that's the main part of it. But it's how many people has it reached and touched. And I think by the time Damn dropped, he was reaching a lot of people. So I think that's where that came
Yeah,
from.
the impact.
Yeah,
that it
exactly.
has on culture. Yeah, and he also said that he goes for months without a phone. But I think that when was just said, like when you get to a point where I think that you have maybe even overexceeded your own expectations for your artistic endeavors, and then you prove yourself to the world, you get that validation for your talent, and now you have all the time and space and financial freedom in the world to just say, I will work at my own pace and I'll take my time, and when I come back, because he has a really high standard that he set for himself with his whole catalog. He can't just be like another rapper that's putting out consistent music to stay relevant. His music and quality speaks for
Has
itself.
to be spot on.
So he can take the time to just say, I'm a living.
love to be able to just like not have a phone.
They picture the royalty checks that he gets and the money
Yeah.
that he's already made from touring and stuff. Like, he's said he can just take all the time in the world to experiment and just hone his
And
craft.
he's really lucky that he never came more into the limelight because there's so many people that's what gets them.
Well,
right?
there's
They
people
drop
that
an
chase the
amp.
limelight
Yeah.
and make it very obvious where he doesn't,
the exact
and he just
opposite.
excels them times 10.
Some people are really good at hiding from the public too. Like, and I think that's, if you're not in the limelight and you're as famous as him, I think you're particularly good at hiding from the public.
Yeah.
Like, you need to go out of your way.
It's interesting
to,
too
like,
because
do
it's like,
that.
where has he lived? Because if you're in the States, I mean, like, you can't tell me that. And I think about this with Eminem too, because you never hear stuff like
Eminem spotted it. New
Eminem
York's
spot
greatest
at-
nightclub or some shit
yeah,
like that.
like Kmart or fucking
I'd be hiding.
yeah, it's just like, and he has a massive house. But Eminem's not. I mean, it's probably enough of a space for him to be like, oh, I'm gonna walk to my house.
So what do you think
for,
the
exercise.
relationship between somebody being well-known, critically acclaimed, household name, and being in the limelight? Because that's what people think fame is, right? Is being in the limelight. But we're sitting here talking about Kendrick Lamar, who's never in the limelight. So what do you think that relationship is?
Well, people like that are in the limelight, like sometimes those people only last like 5 minutes. There are people that like get into like everybody's focus and they stay there. Like, he hasn't been there that long, but like 6ix9ine is one of those people that can just continuously
He's always putting some shit
have
out
no
to
real
grab attention.
serious reason to be there, but he's still there. And he's always, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, he did this, he did that. And there's people that become almost fashionable to know about in a certain time frame. And that's what people are talking about. But those people always like change out. Like, those people will exist. They'll be around for like a year, 2, 3 years. They lose relevance. Somebody else comes along. They're just continuously trading places. But then there's people like Kendrick Lamar that don't necessarily need to be talked about.
To be relevant.
There's
And that's
fads
so much
and
more
then there's
powerful.
talent.
That's exactly
Yeah.
what I was saying. Is there's some people that are fashionable to talk about in the moment, and then they go away.
I think it's a talent to make yourself a fad.
Well, it's a different.
It is a
like,
talent
it's a different kind
to
of
be
talent.
able to
It,
do
it
it.
like,
deserves
some-
its own space,
Yeah,
but
some
it's not on the
musicians
same
are
level.
just so good that they don't need to constantly be in the attention. They just do something and it speaks for itself.
That
Like,
has
they
less
don't
to
need
do with
speak
your
for it,
musical
you know?
ability.
Well,
and
no,
more
yeah,
your
what you're saying is like
marketability.
Jake Paulism almost. Like being a headline is what he's good at. It's not necessarily that he
He's super
has
talented.
anything to offer. Other than that, is that he just does shit that makes people talk,
Gets
and that's
clicks.
his thing, is being talked about.
But
And he's good at that too.
yeah, but he
Yeah.
could be Kendrick Lamar level of talented when it comes to manipulating market
People.
trends and
But
And
he
I
doesn't
think-
necessarily have
Well,
like.
And it doesn't have to
that's
be
his,
positive.
That's Jake Paul's talent.
Yeah.
Jake Paul's talent
It's
is
not
getting
boxing,
people to pay attention
it's not
to him.
music,
Yeah.
it's not
Yeah.
acting, it's not necessarily anything that is like considered a craft. But if you consider that a craft, maybe he's on that
and I
tier.
think-
Look at how
too-
he's very good at what he does. Whether you like it or not, he's very good at what
Yeah,
he does.
he talk about being self-aware. You might think the guy is delusional, but his self-awareness comes with monetizing people's hate for him
Mhm.
and saying, I'm going to antagonize people that I
beloved
think people
something.
respect so I can draw more attention to myself, therefore make myself more money, and just be okay with the fact that a good percentage of people that tune into my
And I
stuff
think
don't like me.
people on Kendrick Lamar's level as well. So like Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole is another one who's like a big artist but isn't really in the limelight that much. Like, people see him riding his bike and that's about it. That's as much limelight attention as he gets.
But even
And
Kendrick Lamar, you don't see him riding
You don't
his bike.
see him at all. But I feel like in those cases with that type of artist who's putting out, let's say,
Do you got a bike?
a very intense, poetic, household named album, that
drop
type of
that?
thing. If they came into the limelight, it would depreciate the music that they put out. It gives people a reason to say, let's say J. Cole Sing was rapping about how great his life is, bitches and money and jewelry and whatever else, and then they see him riding his bike, and it takes away the value of what he's saying. Right?
His
So-
image is his art.
So what if, like, I don't know, people saw Kendrick Lamar just out there being an average guy, but like that's not what his image is in his music. It's going to depreciate the value of his music. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So staying out of the limelight gives this mystery to him as a person, but lets the music speak for itself.
It's a luxury for an artist to have. Because
Absolutely.
most artists now have leaned into prioritizing making themselves more accessible.
Be in front of people all the
I mean,
time.
look at Will Smith. Like, I believe he even spoke about, or I don't know if it was him specifically. I know Dr. Dre said something a couple months ago where he was like, I think that music and entertainment misses it lacks the allure that famous people used to have, because it was like, where are they? They're gonna put out albums soon. Like, they're not on Instagram Live every day. Where now it's like, you talk to anybody who gives advice for someone trying to make a name for themselves in the music business.
Put
they're
shit
like,
out every day.
put something out every day, put a song out every week, only release singles. Like, you start taking the art out of the artist and you just are trying to make a business plan.
You're trying to become an image instead of an artist.
And I think that Drake is like because when you think of like over the last decade when it comes to rap, like who are the people that are on like the Mount Rushmore of the last decade? They'll be like Kendrick, J. Cole, Drake. I know that was the Rap Caviar thing, and then people put Nicki Minaj or whatever. But I think like Tyler the Creator's moving in that space.
People like Drake and Tyler the Creator, I think, do a good job of kind of being both.
Well,
they're
more
a personality.
extroverted.
Yeah, they're more extroverted. They're a personality and they're a musician separately.
But Drake is still mysterious in a way where everything he does is calculated, but you hear more from him because part of his success has to do with maintaining relevance. Yeah. Like every 2 months, he's still going to be featured on something. Like with great power comes great responsibility. It's like if he gets a verse on a song, everyone involved with that song needs to accept, okay, this song is going to be charting. It's going to be like everything he does is he
has the mind. That's exactly what I was going to say. He has the Midas touch and he knows it.
Yeah.
So he's like,
be careful where you put it.
Yeah, and also there's this thing, and I
don't know why he's I don't like that fucking Smiley guy who did that song with me.
That was trash.
I remember me, you, and Mark at the Savoy one day were talking about this too, where he's good at he knows not to put out too much, like he knows not to dilute the water too. Like it seems like he's one of these guys that knows exactly when the right time.
Yeah.
When people stop paying attention to the last one to drop the new one to get the hype going again.
Well, interesting you actually just said at the right time because he just did a verse on a Trippie Redd song on Trippie Redd's new album. I don't know if you heard it. I listened to I don't even think I listened to the full verse, but because there's this ongoing speculation because Kanye has his album Donda that has had like 4 or 5 different release dates at this point, and he's done 2 album listening parties to a sold-out Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta where he was renting out a room to finish the album. And every artist, 99% of every rapper will drop everything to go and participate in Kanye finishing his album. So every rapper's out there, they have the listening party in the stadium, has done it twice, and it's always been implied that he's going to put the album up the next day, and it never comes out. This happened twice in the last month. Sold out crowd. Everyone that's anyone is there. You listen to the whole album, and it's like, it's coming out tomorrow. It doesn't drop. And now people are speculating that he's continuing to hold it off because Kanye and Drake have always had this type of competition between each other when it comes to who is the most culturally impactful, in everyone's face artist in hip hop, because that was Kanye, and then Drake came along, and it kind of became Drake. Kanye's richer and has had probably a little bit more of an impact and more depth in his music, but Drake is you said he has the Midas touch. He doesn't miss. He makes hits. He also can rap his ass off. He can make these bang whatever. But Drake did this verse on this Trippie Redd song that just came out because Trippie Redd dropped an album. And
I didn't know. I thought he dropped a single. I was just
no. It was just a verse on but it was funny because Trippie Redd's album dropped, and the song with Drake was kind of leaked a couple times on Instagram, and people saw that it wasn't there because Trippie Redd was actually supposed to be on God's Plan, and there was always like that clip that went around on the internet. That's one of Drake's biggest songs. Trippie Redd. I don't know if you guys know who he is. He's a big rapper, but he's not Drake level. Like he's just like one of the newer. He has like face tats, whatever. He came out like 4 or 5 years ago, but he's actually decent. Like he can make like some good like melodic shit, and he can rap sometimes. But anyway, people were kind of grilling him, and they were like, "Oh, Trippie just fucking fumbled the Drake feature for the second time, like whatever." And he always sells well when he puts out his albums. But then they just did like a complete version because I feel like artists like Drake and Kanye, like if they decide they want to put something out on Spotify the next day, Spotify's like, okay, let's do it because they know what kind of traffic that'll bring. Any artist, they need to give Spotify like a 2 weeks heads up before they put something out. So the Drake song came out on Spotify with Trippie Redd, and he has a line in there saying that he's like, Ye can't fuck it up. It's already set in stone, because people are thinking that Kanye's holding back his album to drop because he's waiting to find out when Drake's dropping his album, and then they'll both drop on the same day and like really truly test who is the bigger artist based off of the sales from when the album comes out.
Maybe that's why Kanye's been trying to get all these this political attention. He's like, I gotta get more album sales than Drake. I gotta get the old white people.
Maybe. He actually has been mysterious lately. But actually, so after Drake, I don't know if you guys saw this, but after Drake, did something happen? Oh, I thought you hit a button. After Drake, that song came out, Kanye, if you look at Kanye's Instagram right now, so Kanye goes through these phases. If he uses Instagram, he posts a bunch of random shit, he deletes it, then nothing's on his Instagram, then he comes back. He posted onto Instagram. Right now, his Instagram is a picture of a house. I think it's like the house he grew up in, which would make sense because his album's called Donda, which is named after his mom. And then he posted a screenshot of a group iMessage, and there's like 8 people in the group.
It's like him and Virgil Abloh's in there, right?
Yeah, because there was a song where Drake has, I forget what song it is, and Drake says, Virgil got that paddock on my wrist doing front flips, and then there's like an old text at the top of it, and then Kanye's like, Virgil, I need my fucking make this watch do backflips or something like that. Like Drake's in the group chat with Kanye or whatever, and then it shows Drake and Pusha T had that beef like 2 years ago where Pusha T was basically announced to the world that Drake has a son with this random chick or whatever, but and it showed like Drake Kanye added, he posted it to his Instagram, a screenshot of it, he added Pusha T to the group chat that he was in with Drake, and he was like, I've been bullied by, this is Kanye talking to Drake, he's like, I've been bullied by nerd ass jock N-words like you my whole life, and he was like, you will never recover, and like he posted on his Instagram, and it makes me think it's like, this is like wrestling, like, and I never watched wrestling, but it's like, is this real? Like, is this genuinely an
Well, that's the thing, because both of these people are super intelligent people, and they know the negative impacts that could come with all this bullshit. I think everything is calculated,
yeah,
in my opinion. Like the whole Kim and Kanye thing, I think that was calculated. Like,
yeah. Well, they're in a group chat, but maybe that was a group chat that nobody talked in for like a year, and then he just was like, I add Pusha T to the group chat, and then he's like, and that's what he posted. But it makes me think, like you just said, like it's like, you know that negativity sells, and negativity makes people interested. So, yeah,
I'm
Drake and
curious.
Kanye could drop on the same day. Drake and Kanye
and everybody's
J.
gonna buy
Cole.
both to see who's better, right?
Yeah, and they'll just want to tune in to see if like the 2 biggest artists in hip hop are gonna actually argue with each other, because they're
What
just
would
like, they probably have such calculated fucking.
Can you imagine if they had a song together that was just like laughing at people, like
just like ha 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 ha.
you bought it,
ha,
you
ha.
stupid fuck.
They do have songs together. They had like a really like push under the rug song on Drake's More Life. It was like Glow, I think.
I have a question for everybody. If you had to be famous, right?
Okay.
What level of famous would you want to be, from like Kendrick Lamar to Kim Kardashian? Name a celebrity that you would like be famous like, and that would be comfortable for you.
That's a good question.
I don't think the level of fame like really matters. It's really like whether or not I can have what we were talking about before, where like I can be almost non-existent.
Well, that's just it. So, what celebrity comes to mind to where they're
I would
famous
be
enough
like
and rich
God-level
enough?
celebrity if I was like able to not exist.
God level celebrity with the finances.
Okay, so what
associated with it.
celebrity
Yes.
that exists right now would you like to have the life of?
She wants a name.
Kenny Aronoff.
I don't know who the fuck that is.
Explain, Jason.
Exactly.
Yeah, true. That was perfect.
Boss Rutan. I got to slap a bunch of people to sleep in Japan.
I'm Seth Rogen. I'm Seth Rogen. If I could be anybody's level of famous, I'd be Seth Rogen. Everybody knows who he is. He's fucking hilarious. He makes vases and chills.
You know what?
And for him, if you read his book, a lot of stuff in his book shows that he's still like, he feels like a novice. Like he still goes to these places with all these celebrities. Like, well, this
His
is so
stuff
cool.
with Kanye is so
That's
funny.
funny as
That
hell.
section was awesome.
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Don't fumble the bag.
Yeah.
I had to push your arm,
Kenny
bro.
Aronoff
weenus.
is a studio drummer that's played with everybody. Like the drum fill in Jack and Diane, that's Kenny Aronoff. Like he's played with everybody, bunch of money. Everybody knows who he is, but he's like regular people don't.
I'm trying to think. It's hard to say. Many different points in my life would have given me different answers. I'm constantly
You're more
going through
extroverted too,
phases.
so that makes me.
I wouldn't
curious to know.
mind.
I feel like you could be like a Tyler.
Yeah, I could
Yeah.
be Tyler the Creator.
Tyler's cool. I feel like I
Tyler.
could be Tyler too. Like I'm not an extroverted person, but I don't think he's.
But when he goes out in
That.
public, he goes out in public, but he still has the comfortability and the leverage to be able to. It's kind of like
And he can be
Kendrick,
whoever
but
he
like-
wants.
Well, it's kind of like Yeah, it was not like Kendrick. I feel like Tyler. If you pick out of those 4 people, the Tyler, the Drake, the Kendrick, and the
I
J.
could be
Cole.
J. Cole. I could do J. Cole.
Yeah, but when Drake and Tyler they voice their opinion. Well, Drake doesn't voice his opinion at all. Drake never does.
No,
He never
because
talks
heard
about
him.
anything.
Yeah, he doesn't have to. And Tyler did a great interview on Hot 97 a couple weeks ago, and it was awesome. Like what I like about Tyler is that he still won't make himself too cool and too successful to be a fan of other people, and talk about how he fans out and how he appreciates, and I do too. Like, I really can appreciate somebody who is just genuinely interested in a particular subject and knows a bunch about a shit. Like, Tyler was talking about like how a close friend of his is really into anime. And he's like, I'm not into anime, but I like the fact that I could drive around with my friend. And he's like, oh, that car looks like this car that was in this season. Like, just appreciating people that are just passionate about a thing and they know everything about it, because it's just like that shows individuality and shit. And I like that throughout Tyler's career, despite people that have, he's been said questionable things and made people feel a certain way about him,
But I feel like
he's
you could always
really
go back to the fact that he's just saying shit. Like,
Well,
it's just Tyler being Tyler.
He's a very
you know?
relatable person because he's authentically himself, and that is what he praises.
You know
he
what
doesn't
my
smoke
favorite
weed-
thing about
yeah.
Tyler is that he was like, I'm gay. And everybody's like, oh, Tyler, you silly man.
I don't know if he is.
I think he probably just threw it out there to just be like.
Well, he's never done it, and I feel like it's agreed upon between his team, because he is that type of artist. He's won a Grammy. He's had multiple number ones, and he's a true example of an artist who, over time, their work that they've made, like the work that he's made, is, even if you look at the sales, it is grown since he came out. Like Goblin,
Exponentially.
Wolf, Cherry Bomb, Flower Boy, Igor, Call Me If You Get Lost. Like, if you look at the sales, it's like even first week sales like 20,000 more each time. And it's like he had moments where he was more edgy and dark and just saying shit to get a rise out of people, but still there was those little bits, those little glimpses of like, oh, maybe there's more in him as a musician. And then he really eventually tapped into that. But yeah, I just like how he is just genuinely
He's just
himself,
like,
and-
individuality is his thing, which is really cool. And he promotes it to the point of it makes other people want to be individuals.
Well, back to the him
As
being
if
gay
people
thing,
aren't
but I feel like but he has like that kind of level of respect, and he does have like, he's so big now that he has that like allure surrounding him. Like, he used to be someone doing all these interviews and talking and tweeting all day and stuff like that, but now he kind of gets the chance to like turn his phone off and go make music, and then when he comes back, he nerds out and his personality really just goes everywhere, and then he fucks off for a bit. But I don't know, the thing is with him, he's always been somebody who I think likes to question people's, like, just question, I don't know, like the general stance on things, like him being
what's common and popular. He
like him being him being a prevalent figure in hip hop as a black man. Like, he knows, like, he's not from the same background of like a rapper who potentially like got really big. He was a rapper that was selling drugs and then makes music about that. He's not from that background. He was a skater. He was in a sketch
wants to challenge,
comedy.
like, the status quo.
He wants to make you kind of uncomfortable in a way like Eric Andre does when he brings you on his show.
C'est la vie.
Yeah, like, he wants to make people uncomfortable and be like, why does that make you uncomfortable? Like, he's very self-aware, honest. So sometimes I think that maybe because earlier in his career he would say certain slurs out of, not to be offensive, because he was just wild, and that's just what he did, that made him be banned from like New Zealand and England to go tour, because they're like, he promotes hate, and that wasn't the case. But maybe in his head, and maybe he is gay. I don't know. I don't care.
Like one of his more recent songs, he has some line like,
he has a lot of lines
that's
about
on
it.
my neck matches the glitter on my fingernails or something like that.
Well, yeah, he just Lil Yachty sells fingernail paint and shit. Like,
no, I know. I just mean like, it's, I don't know.
Who
He crosses.
He has a lot of
I
lines
guess what you
about
would call gender barriers or whatever now.
Yeah.
Whereas
And he does
before
it in
he's,
a very nonchalant way, which is what I think is
dropping
important. Like, not like that.
But there's no interview since Flower Boy came out, which was when people were like, holy shit, Tyler just come out of the closet, where they were like, so this line means blah, blah, blah. Are you gay? And like, that's never happened. So I think that it's probably, I feel like that's what makes me think there's some kind of like strategic like mystique that's around that particular question. So, because I know just the way that journalists are, especially in music, they want to get that question out because that will get so many clicks. But people stray away from it every time he does an interview. It's about the music, which is how it should be.
Because it makes people uncomfortable.
Yeah, but his whole appeal, it should be about his music. He's an artist. Who cares what he does in his personal life? But he's the type of guy where Igor, his album that won him the Grammy, which was different than a lot of his other stuff, was a lot like apparently that whole album is a concept album about a relationship with a guy who, like, if you listen to it, it's like a breakup album, and it kind of ends off with a track called "Are We Still Friends?" So it's kind of like goes through this love thing, and then it's like they break up and whatever, or can we be friends? I don't want to see like. That's the whole concept of that album. And I read a couple of theories on it or whatever, but it's supposed to be about a relationship with a guy. And then, but he has a bunch of songs in his most recent album. He has this 8-minute song where he talks about this relationship he has with a girl who was dating his friend, and she hangs out with him. And it's just like a really weird take to have in hip hop because you don't really hear songs. It's an 8-minute long song. It's crazy. But he even has a line in that. He's like, I've had every women, or he's like women or garçon. Like I think he's bi, but who cares what he is? But I could see him being the kind of guy that just create that narrative about himself just to test how society's reaction would be and see if it kind of progresses things in the hip-hop community. Because you don't really have a rapper who raps well like him, who was like super masculine at one point, and then he's just like, is he gay? Is he not? I feel like it kind of makes people be more open-minded, I guess.
I don't know if I would even consider his other music to be masculine as much as it just was angry.
Yeah, not masculine, but like he doesn't like.
Not feminine.
He's not like Lil Nas X, like making out with guys on stage.
The not fuck F-bombs.
Yeah, but he doesn't do that anymore.
No.
But maybe he did that because he was gay. You know what I mean? Like maybe he was really
He's like, I
in
can
denial
take this
about
liberty.
himself. Yeah, I mean, you could probably pull about 15 to 20 lines from Tyler the Creator songs that imply that, like, very, you know, that he's gay. I think he is. I don't care. But it is, I don't know. It's like he's never really, I feel like that would be a big moment for the
You know what I wonder
community.
about sometimes is him and Frank Ocean.
Yeah.
You ever think about that?
But I think it's easy for us to think about that. And I feel like they would criticize us for that. If Tyler was here, he'd be like, what? Did you think I did a few songs with him?
I was fucking him in
Not
the
good Tyler
bum.
Creator
Well,
person.
no, but the thing is that they've had not a relationship, but they've had a relationship with each other for a long time. They've known each other for a long time.
I don't
Sin-
feel there. Pink Matter was about Tyler's asshole.
I feel like Frank Ocean had this very like mysterious way of like coming out. Like he had
But
like
he came
like,
out.
like
Like Tyler just made, like, people, there's rappers that don't sell drugs. All they do is make music while selling drugs. But they're not selling drugs. Tyler enjoyed fucking with people.
That's true.
Maybe he enjoys testing people's reaction because he did an interview with Larry King. And Larry King asked him, before he had any songs that alluded to the fact that he might be gay, Larry King asked him, he's like, what do you think the general consensus would be for an openly gay rapper of your level in hip-hop in this day and age? And he was like, why does that matter? And that is, like, that's a pure example of him being like, this is an example of people having a stupid opinion on it. Like, this does not matter. I want to fuck with people for my whole career. It won't have anything to do with the music I make just because I'm just going to fuck with them. I don't know. Maybe he's gay, though. I don't know. I don't care. Obviously, I just think it's interesting.
We have any
Yeah.
like stories that actually like happened? that we
You
can
said
talk
something, though.
about?
I feel like I cut you off
Oh,
a bit.
sorry.
What was it?
Oh, I don't know. Some of it, Frank. Frank Ocean and Channel Orange. It was kind of like he was trying to tell us there was music, but he was like not quite telling us there's music.
Well,
he was like
he's-
hinting at it,
Mhm.
and then all of a sudden he was like, "You guys just aren't getting it. Like I'm gay."
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. I guess it depends on if that is even really a crucial component of the lyrics in your music. Because
And I don't
you
think
could
in
just
a lot of
be-
ways that it
well, your
is-
sexual orientation does not have really to do anything with the type of music.
But what
you
I
make.
think is important is being able to just accept when a man speaks about a man and doesn't have to hide it behind a she.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
But he still does that because he said it sounds better.
he does sometimes, but he's also written about he's. Right? And I
That's-
think
yeah.
it's important for people to be able to listen to that music and just not care. For him to be accepting of himself and promote accepting his music.
Yeah.
And
Well, that song on his album, Channel Orange, called Bad Religion, was like a song where he is talking to a taxi driver of, like, I think, like, coming out to him or something like that. And that's an amazing song. I feel like that's just, like, powerful shit.
yeah, Bad Religion's probably one of my favorite songs.
I love Frank Ocean.
Me too.
He needs to drop it. I said it the other day, I was like, the world would be a better place if Frank Ocean dropped a new album.
You know what song I love from Frank Ocean? And it's definitely not one of his best songs by any means, but Pink and White. Play Pink and White while you're driving, while the sun sets,
Yeah.
and the windows are down.
No, I've done it.
Fucking amazing.
No, that's definitely one of his best songs.
Yeah.
That's like the third song on Blonde, or is it the da-na-na? I used to be able to play on the piano, kind of. Like, I watched like a YouTube video, and I played like 3. I was like, oh, it sounds like the song.
I love Frank Ocean. I could listen to Frank Ocean for
The
forever.
Ivy, what's the other? It's
Ivy?
Ivy. The song that has Young Lean on like 10 seconds of it is so good. What's it called? It's underrated on the album. I gotta bring it up.
Bring it up, because I
And
want to
then
know what you're talking
we'll do a
about.
story time. What is it called, man? The song Pyramids is so crazy. Actually,
I love that song. John Mayer's on that song, which is crazy.
Yeah,
It was
you love
it was a
John Mayer.
mind-blowing moment for me, because I love John Mayer and I love Frank Ocean.
Yep.
John Mayer's cool to me because he did the corny pop music thing, but if you listen to John Mayer now and the music that he makes now and the things that he does, he's another one of those artists that just did what they had to do for a while,
Yep.
and now they can take total liberty
Yeah.
of their
Bob
lives.
Rock is an amazing.
Amazing. And everything leading up to this point, basically for the last, 10 years that he's made has been amazing. He's going on tour in the winter, and I'm going to go, or I'm
Where
going
is he
to
coming?
die. He's going to the U.S. He's coming to Toronto, but I'm going to try to go see him in the U.S. just for the sake of leaving the country.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
he's a
We're gonna be able to go to the
brilliant
U.S.
Brilliant
allegedly
musician.
in
Probably
September.
one of the best
21st.
artists of our time.
Yeah, he's one of them.
I can't get this fucking Frank. But you know what's interesting? The song Pyramids by Frank Ocean, the way that the music is written, there's a part in it where the notes that make up I don't know if it's the guitar part or whatever, but in the song they make a pyramid on the sheet music.
Cool. That's
Yeah.
really cool.
It's kind of wild.
Yeah, Frank Ocean's one of those artists that it's effortless to listen to him, and somehow I know all of the words to all of his songs.
Remember that Frank Ocean shirt that you were gonna make? I can't find it, man. What? I don't know. That'll come. It's a song that ends with like, no, you gotta leave, take down some summertime. Do you know that song?
I do know that song.
That's a great song. Last week when we were doing the podcast, I rapped the whole first verse of "In the End" by Linkin Park. That was bad.
That happens to me all the time. Because you know what happens to me is okay.
You
so
guys got really drunk or something?
No.
I
Just got
get
woke.
songs stuck. So I wake up in the morning with a song stuck in my head, and it changes, and it's there all day, every day. I have a song in my head all the
Yeah.
But
You're
it
always
changes.
singing when you're just sitting there.
I'm just sitting there and
Yeah,
singing.
sitting there
That's
singing.
your first country album.
But the
Sitting
thing
there and
is,
singing.
but the thing is, somebody will say something at work, or just in my day-to-day life, and it'll trigger a song.
Yeah.
So
well, they say a certain word. That's
so
in the song.
I'll ask somebody if they want to do something. They're like, it doesn't matter, and I'm like, and in the end,
it doesn't.
and then I'll sing that for the rest of the day. I sing the Washer song too, so that doesn't really.
When you guys got here, I had the American national anthem stuck in my head.
I love that we're on a level right now.
Can
I feel like we
you
understand
see? Bev can sing. Bev can def sing.
I remember. I have a memory.
I love every time you listen to someone sing the American national anthem. I love listening to how they start, because it starts at one point, then it goes really high.
I watched a
And
thing about this.
People pitch correct
Yeah.
because it was really high.
Well, that
and
note
then
is
it
like
goes-
notoriously hard to hit,
Then
right?
it goes extremely low to the other range, so people pitch corrected high, then they're fucked.
When they go back down. I
Yeah,
do that all
you
the
can't
time
do
because
it.
most of my
It's
favorite
America.
artists
It's
are
freedom.
men. So
It's
obviously
freedom
I
of
don't-
range.
I don't match their tone, so I have to do
Free
that,
range
and it
chicken.
fucks with me. But I watched an analysis
Free
on
range
the
shooter.
I don't know why, but on the American anthem and how difficult of a song it is, and how it just makes no sense to be the national anthem. Because in theory, if you have a national anthem, it should be a song that anybody and everybody can sing, and it brings them together. And nobody can fucking sing it. Look at Fergie. Was
an
it
analogy
Fergie
for
that
the-
totally botched it?
The class.
Yeah, well,
ism.
it's a hard song. It was an orchestral song, and then this poet literally was like, "I'm gonna write a poem," and they just were like, "Oh, let's throw it over this song," and that was the American national anthem.
As somebody deeply in love with and involved with animals, would you rather hunt your own animal or get mass farmed animals?
I'd rather hunt my own animal. Or do small markets. Because the thing is, that's not mistreating an animal. If you
Yeah, it's
have
one bad
if you have
day.
a small if you have a small farm and these cows that you're chopping up are all free range chickens. I don't know. They're all
Yeah, bunch of free range chickens. Get out of here.
they're all just living their best life, and then all of a sudden one day they're dead. That's different than an animal. But the thing about it too is another perspective is that these, not that this is to say it's right by any means, but in these mass farms, these animals are born and raised there. That is their life. They don't know anything better to feel like they could have a better life. However, studies show that
North Korea.
studies show that free-range beef is actually much more tender
It's
than
way better.
factory farmed meat because they're just
Not
so
full of
relaxed. They're
depression.
not tense. So the more tense the meat is before it's dead, the more tense it is after
Well,
it's a bit dead.
They say you want a cow to be happy when you kill it, because a happy cow tastes better than like
Real
a
tender when they're
sad
happy
or
and young.
scared.
That sounded a little
Yeah,
rapey.
fucking cow pedophile.
Yeah.
Would you feel bad going to a rooster fight?
That would be exciting.
I listened
don't
to
know.
I listened to a podcast the other day with this comedian Ari Shafir, and he had a other comedian on who
Maybe
was
they can
from
do that in Mexico.
Puerto Rico, and he said that it was just like it wasn't illegal. It actually, like, I don't know if it was not illegal, but like morally, like just where they were located, like nobody was trying to be suspicious about it. They were just like, what? Like, because he was like, oh, do you mind if I take a picture? Or is that like too far? Like, what do you mean? Like, why would it be weird
No,
for you to
it's
take a
probably
picture?
a thing that people get around, drink.
And the
beer
whole
and
time I
bet
was
money on.
listening to it, I was like, is this kind of fucked up? Like, he's just like talking about how exciting it was because he originally went to this country where it was like a huge thing and people were training roosters and they fight, but they
How
wouldn't let
fucked
them
up is
fight
it,
to
though?
the
Because,
death.
like, would they do that in nature?
But
I
not
mean,
with knives strapped to their ankles.
Yeah.
I don't
Okay.
think-
No.
I
Not
don't
with
think it
knives.
was-
strapped to the ankles.
I don't think that was like that.
No.
but I think, like,
Well,
they were
that's
just-
that's what that is. Like rooster fighting. You
Rooster
put-
fights, they
you
put
put
little.
like made like a handmade like.
I
fucking
wouldn't be
knife
able to
claw
attend
on
that. I wouldn't be able to sit there and be like, yeah, like kill the other. Although I know like we fucking eat hamburgers and fucking chicken and all this stuff and that just
I
you know
find
like
it really fucked
It's
up.
very
when
brutal,
it's
but,
like-
like-
We don't make
senseless
cows
act.
fight each
Emma's
other.
like
No,
this, and
it's
my
not-
mom's like this
yeah.
too. She
But
doesn't.
if I went to like a fucking slaughterhouse, I probably would go vegan like the next day.
I drink almond milk now
I feel like I'll
because
eventually
of
be
things
vegan
that
because
I
I don't like the
experienced in
idea.
school.
I don't know.
I went to a dairy
prick.
farm once and I was like, gross.
Yeah.
And now I drink almond milk.
I love milk.
I think it'd be
It's
very easy to
nature's
convince me not to eat meat. I
it's-
just haven't tapped into that part of
Just ignoring that
literature.
part of me.
It's
research yet.
not good for you. But
Yeah. Well,
So I remember one time, this is cycling back.
okay, so we won't go to the rooster fight.
We'll go back and then forward.
I'd probably watch a non-knife rooster.
Keep
fight.
what you're gonna say in my head. I just want to wrap the rooster fight part up. But what really set it home for me was like when they were like, "Well, dog fight is like, well, you can't, it's different. Like dogs are a pet." And I was like, "Okay, I get how you can justify that. I
That's
guess."
stupid, man.
But
Honestly, I
still won't go to a rooster fight.
Well, this
Jason
is the thing. Those
We're
things
anti-rooster fight on
are-
the spot.
I would watch roosters fight without the fucking knife claw on.
Yeah, maybe you don't. Maybe if
Because
I know
it's
they're
interesting
gonna
and it's
go
like a
hang out
nature thing.
afterwards.
It's like watching a fucking tiger take
Yeah,
down
it
a
happens.
gazelle.
Don't be
And
a
you're just like,
bitch.
this is part of nature. If I watch
Yeah.
two animals fight in a way that they would kind of naturally do it, I know it's a little coerced and it's like forced. So that's kind of fucked up. But like, if they're not gonna seriously get hurt, you can pull them away. You can just be like, all right, this chicken's gonna win. Kind of like the UFC. The referee's like, all right, guys,
True.
enough damage done.
We
If you
know,
know that
which one of
someone's
you
gonna-
would kill the
So
other
you
one
know
in
if
real
someone's
life.
Yeah.
You know,
but-
people
but-
intervene if it gets too bad.
Yeah.
It's like, all right.
But that's not how it works.
But
They
the
put
thing
knives
is,
on them
too,
and they
it's
fucking
like-
want them to kill each other.
Yeah, that sucks. And like these roosters, what if they're
But
just
th-
peaceful? They don't want to
but
fight the other rooster. You're
this
just
is-
making them do that. That's what's sad about
When
it.
it comes
me.
to when it comes to animals,
just any animal
like
fighting.
there's certain people that like love, like you love all animals, like kind of you have this sort of respect for them that's like an even plane. I think. Well, probably I don't know, but people justify certain behaviors with animals, like where there's certain countries where people will like eat dogs, and then somebody here wouldn't eat dogs.
Mhm.
People here wouldn't eat horse meat, right? But then there was
Canada?
that time. Remember that time at Mickey's that like his mom had a fucking thing.
Here's
of,
a
like,
fun fact.
cured horse meat, and I killed that shit. It was
Canada is
delicious.
the number one exporter of horse meat.
Yeah,
Number
to
one
China,
in the world.
because it's like super fancy over there,
Yeah.
and it's so fucking delicious.
I don't think
you
that's
can
a
get
valid
horse
argument.
jerky in Alberta.
Alberta.
too.
Albedo.
Al Qaeda
I like
got
to fuck.
crazy
Eat
fucking
horse
horse
meat.
jerky.
But yeah, I think that
You
that's
wanna
culture's different, and
Eat some horse jerky.
all animals are sentient beings. We can justify killing a cow, but if you hung out with a cow for an hour, you'd be like, man,
I don't want you to die.
You wouldn't want to kill your friend cow.
And you know what? I took a class once upon a time about animals and humans and that relationship.
Smarty pants.
One of the
You went to school, did you?
I took a class once.
Go fuck yourself.
Oh, look at you.
Go home.
Fuck you, Bev.
One of the things that I learned in that class was that the biggest connection that humans make to animals is naming them. If you go to a farm and you name every animal on the farm, the likelihood that you're going to want to eat any of those animals is so much lower than if they're just a number. That's why they
Joe,
number
you
them,
look
not
fucking
names.
tasty today, bud.
Hey, Joe, I know we had a fucking
Yeah,
beer
nice and
last night,
juicy,
but I'm
Joe.
going to eat
All right,
you
I'm gonna fatten you up and I'm gonna cook you.
Cooking you up, Joe.
Put you in the smoker. You
That
bitch.
makes sense. Yeah, I was in Ingonish last week or a week before, and there's a spot across from this cafe. I love it. You were like, "That's fucking Ingonish. That's hilarious."
I feel like we just pivoted out of something, but I feel like I
You
know
still
it's
have
gonna
a
be
thing that
connected.
you want to say. Don't forget it.
I'm remembering.
Okay. There was like 2 cows. It's across from this cafe, and you can put $1 in. You get a little bit of cow food, and you feed the cows. And I didn't do it. Lindsay did it because I don't want a cow licking my hand.
They're so
why
cute.
She's more in touch with the animals.
I
than me.
have videos of my
Caressing.
fingers being sucked by baby cows.
I mean, if I had to, but it's like in my head, like
Had
I'm
to?
gonna go wash my hands. Like now, I need
Yeah,
to go
you
find
gotta
somewhere to
wa-
wash
yeah,
my hands.
yeah,
But you're
obviously.
camping. You're like, oh, where's the I didn't even know where the bathroom was at the campground at that point. I'm like, I just will go. You get the lick. I'm good. I like the cows, but they made me so sad. It made me so mad. But yeah, well, there was 2 of them, and they came up to the fence, and she's feeding them whatever, and it was such a sin because they. I'm sure they're just used to it, whatever. It's a way of life, so the world is harsh. But they had all these flies, like just on their body.
Do you know that that's why zebras have stripes? I have a bunch of random facts. Zebras
it.
have stripes. There's a name for the type of design that it is, but they've actually incorporated that type of black and white hard design into things like army ships and things like that because you can't gauge distance.
Didn't work very well in ships.
It didn't, but it is a style, and this is where it came from with zebras because it fucks with the depth perception of the animal or the thing coming
Certain
at it.
types of other animals,
So
too.
flies are like, I don't know, 80% less likely to land on a zebra than I don't know, a bull
Yeah,
or
that
whatever.
cow.
It
Like,
helps
that cow had
predator animals,
hundreds of
too.
flies on it.
Yeah.
Like, it was a sin, but they would do little things sometimes.
Yeah,
They
the-
try to
the-
hit it. And,
Flick their little ears.
yeah, it sucked. I hope the flies leave them alone at night. All
It's
right.
probably stinky.
It wasn't even a question that I had. It
Yeah,
was a
something.
memory because we were talking about me singing. And I remember once upon a time we were at Nanny Bev's. And this is when your rap career was just starting. You were like 16 or whatever. And we joked back and forth about me making a song with you. And you said, okay, sing for me. And I forgot everything about myself in that moment. In that moment. And he can attest for the fact that I sing 24/7 nonstop. I used to listen to a song on the radio, and the next time I played, I knew every word. And in that moment, I forgot
I feel
my
like
name.
it wasn't as daunting as that, though.
But
I wasn't
here's
like,
what's-
okay, prove yourself to
No,
me,
you were like,
Bev.
sing a song for me. And I was like, what's a song?
I hate that.
But
I
you
can't
know
believe
what's
I would
funny?
never ask that because I hate when people are like, oh, you make rap music. Rap for me. It's like, no.
I have trauma attached to that scenario. You want to hear that trauma? I was
Because of me?
Not because of you,
Okay, good.
but before you. The trauma that led to that moment.
Pre-traum.
What happened was I was a little girl. I was like 6 or 7, and my mother and father put me in piano and singing lessons, and I loved it. Like, I loved that I had this artistic
Do you feel like you
outlet.
always were able to sing or you were taught how to sing?
I was able to sing, and then I went into it to pursue it as a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So this was after the first year that I had been in there, and they used to do a concert at one of the old folks' homes, CV Manor. And I really wanted to sing this once. I had to sing and play the piano, and I had a song that I could do both at the same time. Somebody else had already chosen that song. I had to choose something else that I learned that year.
Pastor.
I can't remember what the song on the piano was, but the song that I sang was How Much Is That Doggy in the Window? Right?
It's a classic 7-year-old
Classic
choice.
song. So I didn't even want to sing that song. So I sat in my bedroom for like 2 weeks prior singing How Much Is That Doggy in the Window? And then I remember my outfit that I put on that day. It was a little pink and black number with a rhinestone dragonfly on it. I had my hair all done up, and I got up on stage. I played my song on the piano, and then it was my turn to sing. And when it came time in the song that the dog barks, I had to bark.
Is there an extra one?
And I barked like a dog.
Is there enough beer in there for me to have one beer?
Yeah.
Okay. God
You
bless.
pulled that one over there and didn't even open it.
We're just stingy with our
Me?
beer.
I didn't put that there.
Oh, that's Jay's.
But yeah, so I sang the song and I barked, and all the old people laughed at me.
Oh, but they were probably like, oh, it's sweet.
That's cute. Yeah, like if a child came in here and sang me a song and barked, it'd be like, oh, my heart.
You're not going to be like,
Where was this at?
this
I
is
remember
This is
Nanny-
at Seaview Manor.
artistically
Seaview
empowering.
Manor, yeah. I remember Nanny Boone taking me to some
Yeah.
shit where you sang.
And
I
I
was falling
barked.
asleep and she was flipping on me.
Yeah, I was
tired,
mortified.
man.
I dropped out
Appreciate
after that.
greatness.
I never sang again. I have thought, however, recently of like taking lessons and just like
I've heard you
dicking
sing.
around in the studio just for funsies and playing with it.
Like,
I feel
there's
like-
no reason not to.
Oh, man. I feel like when someone says dicking around, it just hits me. I feel like I haven't heard that in a while. It was funny because she goes dicking around, and you go, yeah, play with it. She goes, I just want to start dicking around in the studio. He goes, yeah, just play with it. Run it back.
Pause.
But this reminds me of another memory that I had, which is I was mentioning
Miko of
this
Energy
earlier.
Strong in here tonight, boys.
There was one night that we all went to the studio, and you were recording,
Yeah.
and you guys all went out for a smoke break, and I sat in front of the mic with a bag of Doritos and ate them really, really loud into the mic. I don't know if anybody else remembers that. I was high as shit. This was like 2 years ago,
I do vaguely remember this.
I do remember this.
and we were just having drinks at the
It
studio.
was the fall of 2018.
Probably.
It was a cold, breezy night.
Might have been. Didn't go
Yeah.
outside. But yep,
Good
that's
old
the
times.
most studio experience that I have is eating a bag of Doritos.
Well, you need to drop some singing.
Yeah.
Say, oh.
Oh.
You probably
Just
drop an
drop
album of all Doritos and just like every song title would just be a different flavor.
the Doritos
Like, this
Cool
is what
Ranch.
it sounds like when you choose Sweet Chili Heat. This is what it sounds like when you choose
Wait,
Cool
I'm
Ranch.
thinking like jalapeno cheddar.
every song would be named after this.
And it's like me
flavor.
chewing it.
Zesty, the one that nobody buys.
Jalapeno and cheddar. Was Zesty the orange one?
Yeah.
Oh, they hit.
I like them too, but
Yeah.
nobody likes them.
They
They
usually,
like
you
it.
usually
I
get
used to
put
like
onto
them,
them
they're not that good
Halloween
anymore.
little treat bags.
Yeah, but like they're like people buy the fucking regular red bag of Doritos over that, and I'm
I like
like,
the
this
red
just
bag.
way cheesier and way.
Yeah, but they're sweeter too.
Flamin' Hot
Zesty's
Doritos are like
way
the
better.
best chips
Eh.
on the market.
I like the jalapeno
Flame-
cheddar
what?
ones.
Flamin' Hot Doritos are the best chips you can buy.
I feel
I
like
can't do flaming hot.
Yeah, I can.
Flamin'
I
Hot
can
to me
use
is
Popcorn
dumb.
count
If,
as chips
if
because
the heat
popcorn from
outweighs the
Jack's
flavor,
is the best fucking chip
not
thing
worth
you
it,
can
right?
buy.
They count.
Okay.
No, they count.
Jack's popcorn is fucking unreal.
Is popcorn a chip?
do you ever get the popcorn from Esso? The
That
gas
was like
station?
rhythmic how you said
That's
that.
good
Did you ever get
popcorn.
popcorn from
good
Esso?
popcorn.
What SO?
The one in Sydney.
All the Essos,
All
man.
Essos. Did you ever get the popcorn from the SA?
Here we go to SA.
South Africa?
What's funny is I did go to SA. I fucking
San
broke
Antonio.
in. I broke into SA a few times.
El
That's a
Salvador.
medium shit.
El Salvador. Fucking
That's AS.
Salvador. Oh, yeah.
Al Salvador?
No.
Al Sal?
El Sal.
My buddy Al Sal.
S.A. L. Sal.
What is an Al before it? This is
Shell.
the A, the AS, Al Sal.
Call
El
Sal.
Salvador. L space.
Ow.
Weird Al
El Sal.
Salvador.
El Sal.
Space.
L.
Ow.
What? Why are you saying Al?
Because it starts with an A.
No, it doesn't. El Salvador. It's E-L.
Or
Salvador.
E.
L.
Oh, okay. That's
Salvador. S-A-L, buddy. Just take away the L.
Salvador minus the L.
Yeah, just S-A's in
Salvador.
there.
Welcome back to-
Salvador. Take out the L. El Sa. Come on, guys. Know your geography. El Salvador. You got me tripping for a second. I was like, what the fuck? Am I dyslexic and bipolar? We're at a barn at the end of the day.
Oh, yeah.
How long are we in this? 2 hours for sure.
Hour and a half on the dot.
210.
Okay, too. Wow. We're
Wow, you were so confident about that. You were
No,
like,
because he says hour and a half. Because every episode I say, "What time is it?" And it's like hour and a half, and I'm like, "Oh fuck!" And then the time after that is always the best.
you know what you guys need in here is a decorative clock.
decorative.
That would trip me out. Oh, that'd be cool
I
if we could
think
see
we
how
need
long we were going.
walls first.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Make your priorities.
priorities, guys.
Put the-
We're getting
Have you
there.
guys ever done a full frame of what this place looks like?
No.
No, you can look on the. Well, you.
We're getting. Well, we get the pallets. What we forgot about that operation, I guess.
No, we gotta
we're
do
gonna.
the
We're
Jeff
gonna.
Rock.
We're gonna.
Fuck that.
We're gonna fix this up.
We need a whole lot of pallets.
We need more. We got to go back. We were just stealing them
do
from
the
Home
Jeff
Hardware.
Rock.
Yeah.
It would be like
100%.
100. What you said? $175.
Something like
Between
that,
the three of us,
yeah.
that's like. What, $70?
No math.
No, $60.
No math.
The second time you're trying to do math on
We're
the
not
show,
doing
and being
math
really
on this
bad
Not
at
doing
it.
math.
And we're not spelling El
60,
Salvador.
120, 60, 120, 180. So it would be $60 each for us to to do this place.
So do you think Kamala Harris is going to improve Central America, United States relations?
I don't think the United States is fixing relations with anybody. This is the decline.
That was like a joke, serious question. I don't want an
This
answer.
is the end. This is the end of the world as we know
I
it. And
don't
we're just
want an
watching
answer.
the beginning of it.
That's a song.
R.E.M.
It's
That's like a
the
rap
end
song.
Of the world
He spins
as we
super
know
fast in
it,
that.
and I feel fine.
Ah, jeez.
Great Big C did it better
Than me? That's rude.
than REM.
You saying that Great Big C did it better than Bev after she told you that humiliating story of barking? She's like, I barked at a bunch of seniors.
For real,
Now-
it
now I-
traumatized me. Like I never sang again. Like with people.
No, I
like
take care of dogs.
yeah, I sing to them all the time.
Yeah. Anything else we want to say before we throw this puppy in the fucking vet office?
I thought you were gonna say fire.
Throw this puppy right in the dirty fire.
Dirty fire. That's
That's filled
almost
with
impossible.
It
ash.
is almost impossible. All the
Fire is
dirt's
very
dead.
Sterile.
You're in that dirty,
Sterile
gross
environment.
You gotta put that fire in the shower.
Put that pussy in the fire.
Okay.
Pussy on IG Live.
to the Taliban.
I've listened to a lot of stuff about the Taliban in the last week. We don't have enough time to talk about the Taliban, but we'll get to them next week.
Next
throwing
time it's
pussy
just
in the
me
fire?
and you. We'll cover it.
We'll cover the Taliban. We have a separate podcast
I'm
where we only
leaving.
talk about the Taliban.
The movement.
Yeah,
Mitchell.
the movement party.
Mitchell to the power of one.
Yeah, Bev, you got anything else? You got any like anything?
Is this
you
like Hot
feel-
Ones? Like I can plug something?
Yeah, like any. Well, you got any new books coming out?
That camera.
Yeah, this is a prank.
That camera.
Oh, we got
ya.
This whole episode was a joke episode. We're starting to film in the real one after this. Get out of here.
I don't really have anything to
anything that
plug.
you've just really been pressing on your mind that you're just like, man.
Started a business.
I am in the works of starting a business, and it's just
Talk
a
about
small
it.
thing. It's just I called it Turner and Pooch, which if you're old, you know what that is, and if you're not old, you might also still know what it is. But it's it was a movie with Tom Hanks, and now it's a TV show with Josh Peck.
I was just gonna
And
say.
I'm
Called
Turner.
Turner
Well,
and
okay,
Pooch?
no, Turner
Josh
and
Peck from Drake and Josh.
yeah,
Two different career
Turner and
trajectories for that
Hooch.
duo.
Yeah, that duo. They
Jail,
split up and went
dogs.
opposite directions.
Oh, he didn't go to jail.
So Hooch is the name
Kids.
of a dog, I think. I don't know. To be honest, I never watched it. Don't tell my clients. But that's my
You don't
name,
know
and I
the
do
history
at-home
behind your
pet
name.
services. So stuff like dog sitting, dog walking, nail trims, anal glands, all the fun stuff that nobody wants to do themselves. I do it, and because I'm a registered veterinary technician, I'm probably the safest hands that you can put your dog in, or your cat, or your bunny, or your lizard, or your fish,
Or your
or
pig.
your pig. I dealt with a pig this week, so
Pig
whatever you
anal
have,
glands?
I'll deal with it. No, I did pig training.
Have you?
I have a
done the-
website. It's turnerandpooch.ca. Hit me
That's
up.
sick. I feel like we should have led with that.
Yeah. Go
This
on the
is
website.
huge. If you made it to this part of the episode, get your pooch.
We'll just clip
pooch
this
by
like
Turner.
2 minutes.
Yeah.
Right at the
I'll
beginning.
send it
Just
to you.
like,
Have you?
this is the beginning of the podcast. And then we're going to cut, and it's going to
And
be
then
the
we'll go
end.
to this. It'd be like you sponsored the episode.
I did. Turner and Pooch.
So
I
when
gave
it
dog
is
pets.
it? So the website is launched.
Website's
Who
live.
did your website?
Me.
Damn, Bev.
Yeah.
Female entrepreneur pal.
She didn't
That's
even hit
me.
me up and be like, do the logo.
Yeah. What the fuck? Did you do it on
Piece of shit.
Canva?
I did it on, well, I use Canva, but I did it on card.co,
Yeah.
which is basically like one page of a website. So it's not, because it's so simple, it's like, this is who I am. Here's the services
You got
that I
the
offer.
AI though.
No. I'm
You got
doing the cheapy cheap.
PDF.
But anyway, so that's the
the
thing. That's
PDF.
about all I have to
What if
plug.
you want to put it on your wall?
This is why you gotta talk to your brother more.
Yeah. I'm not really promoting that much right now.
Do you have an Instagram for it?
I do. It's at T and Pooch.
So if someone wants to reach out to you and get
Get their pooch turnered.
fill it in.
Turn it around.
That's
Go
the
on my website and walk the people through it.
that's the blank.
Turnerandpooch.ca.
So if you want to get this service done,
This service.
what is the service?
Like, yeah, I don't know.
I
the
do
blank.
like nail trims, anal gland expressions.
Yo, we did this. Okay.
Yeah, I do pet sitting. I do lifestyle consultations. If your dog's fat and you want to figure out why, hit me up. I'll help with that.
Get
You
the,
want-
up with
get
the
the
blood
dog.
work,
No,
apparently.
get the dog on the bike.
Yeah, get him pedaling, man.
Oh, do you
Get him on the elliptical. Just yell at him.
pig elliptical?
You know what I think
What if your
about
lizard's
sometimes?
fat?
Remember when we used to work out? We used to make fun of people for having I.L.S.
What is that?
Imaginary Lat Syndrome.
I'm built.
Did you
I'm,
make that up?
no,
Oh, that's goated.
that's a real thing.
Imaginary lats syndrome?
It's
What,
like
they think they have huge lats?
so the
they
dudes
walk
that
with
walk
arms
like
out
this,
like
like their
this.
back's real big. Like, push their arm out. The way that I'm built, though, I fucking like when I.
I thought we were gonna get canceled as soon as you made fun of people for I.L.S. I was like, "Fuck, get them off here."
The I.L.S. Ice Bucket Challenge.
It's so close.
I.L.S. touch your elbows to your hips
It's
challenge.
so close to being wrong, but it's just right.
But it's not.
Oh, that's funny. I know a few dudes with I.L.S.
Yeah.
Well, I can't. Like
Pray for them.
when I do very very full of themselves.
we gotta go to the ICU.
I can't fucking like I do this thing to stretch my shoulders, and like every time I've seen like when I used to like look up videos and like how to stretch my shoulders, it'd be like they'd say to like put your elbow by your side, oh Jesus,
Put
and
beer between
rotate
your legs.
outwards, right, with like a light weight. But my elbow doesn't go all the way to my
Playing the
side.
cups over here.
I got like instant coffee.
Jay's in the corner doing this, by the way. You
He's
guys
like,
can't
Mitch,
see him.
do
but
that.
This is,
Yeah,
this is what
he's doing
doing.
chest press.
He's trying to figure it out.
That thing, but
Or
I can't actually get my elbows like in
Pec flies.
the position where that looks like I'm doing it right. Like it looks like I'm doing it wrong, even though I'm like as close to doing it properly as I can do it. And that's
It's not like a 2 Chainz bar. I ain't doing it right, but I'm doing it as properly as I can do it. I'm Big Sean.
no, I can't be Big Sean.
Big Sean.
Little Sean.
Little Big Sean. Big
Got
little
a Big
Sean.
Sean.
Little Big C.
Yeah, I think I'm good to wrap this up. This was fun.
It was good. It
I
was a good
appreciate
time.
you coming by.
I
Beth.
kind of threw a wrench in your whatever plans you had.
No, this actually helped.
Cool.
I feel like it made it fun.
This is like this is like one of our early podcasts.
It was just
Very,
fun.
like
I'm just dicking
completely
around.
losing track of what we were
Well,
talking
you
about
know what?
over and over
I
again.
I
guess there
reminisce in the old days where we'd all sit around and
That's what
drink,
this
and
is.
Jay
Hung
Cott and Nicholas Coach were there.
Man, we gotta interview Glenn
They're
about
coming
something.
on. They're coming on soon for
Are
sure.
they?
We'll get them on for sure.
But that'll be like a thing. You gotta get the whole crew together. everybody
Yeah, it
having a
might make
couple
the show
drinks.
better.
We should like.
This was
I
fun.
think I missed the. Did I miss the podcast? It would have been the week of your birthday.
No, I don't.
I feel like I think I suggested an idea, but I wish we would have had like all the boys just get like shit faced around that mic. You know what I mean? Like pull everything out.
Yeah,
just,
that
like,
we
have a
can
bunch
still
of
do
chairs
that for
set up.
sure. We'll do that. We'll do that, buddy.
Because that's like basically what this is sprung out of, essentially.
Just a bunch of guys dicking around.
On that
Everybody's-
note, we are out. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. God bless America.